Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Comic Book Curation. I'm Polly, and joining me, as always, late this time,
Don't
the
believe his
incorrigible Inquisitor.
lies!
It's not lies. I have Twitter DM proof. Quiz was late. Jack was on time. It was weird. I didn't know what to make of it, but that's what happened.
Yeah, sure.
So besides your extreme tardiness, how you doing this week there, Quiz?
I'm all right. I'm just a little tired.
Wow. Sorry to hear that. We'll see if we can pep you up with some anger, because we got some shill-tastic articles this week to go over.
Ooh, yeah, I would say the main thing I think that people want to get into is going to be my thoughts on Captain Marvel, the real Captain Marvel, Shazam, which I saw in the early access. We'll talk about it.
But before we jump into all that, we're rounding out our triumvirate of awesome that Quiz seems to want to jump over.
Oh, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Jack from Bad Comic Reviews. Link in the description. Jack, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm doing all right, I think. I was actually a little bit angry earlier on, as I was telling you, Jack, before we went live. I started reading some articles here, prepping for this week's show, waiting for you guys to show up. God damn it! And I got angry reading about all the things and happenings and stuff that are going on. It's a lot of shilling this week. There's articles left, right, and center just talking about things just to talk about them. The amount of articles that I click through that are about Avengers Endgame that say nothing. They're just they're just talking about it. Have you heard all of the details about the new poster they released?
Ooh,
About the one character supposedly being dusted off camera?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
As if I give a shit.
Hyper minuscule things that ain't got nothing to do with nothing and don't fucking matter, but these shill-tastic bastards who run these garbage tier websites have to keep talking and putting out content.
Dude.
So their average site traffic doesn't drop and their investors don't come knocking and saying, what the fuck? I mean, there's only so many bots they can hire to make their traffic look good, you know.
just because there's no news doesn't mean you can't put an article out, because you need money. You still have to eat, and they're not paying you anything. So the writers got to come up with something. I'll give them points for attempts at creativity. They're just bad at it.
Yeah, it frustrates me. You would think that somebody, like some journalist, would be like, I've already written 4 articles about, you know, Captain Marvel this hour, you know. I'm going to leave this computer. I'm going to go knock on DC's door and see if I can get one of the writers to talk to me. Because, you know, I live here in New York, like every shill-tastic journalist does, because, you know, you need to live in Manhattan in a one-room studio closet to have any credibility, apparently. I'm just going to go knock on DC's door and see if I can talk to an artist or a writer and do an actual interview. You think journalism would happen by accident or boredom one week?
Monkeys and typewriters, dude. Eventually they'll hit it. Someday.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we'll see. So we, where do I want to start this week? Oh, I know, of course. I need to justify my use of things for thumbnails. So let's take a look at this week's thumbnail, shall we? There you are, Quiz. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's okay.
What do you mean it's okay? This is from the masterful pen of none other than David Finch, who I've just been loving for the past month now. Just loving his art. So I thought I'd take this cover and roll with it. This is actually a piece of art from a Psylocke collected edition that I read through. And they were really interesting. Talk about a collected edition. Like, unconnected stories that don't really have nothing to do with nothing. That don't even run in sequence. And it's simply called Psylocke. So I guess they just wanted to put some stories together. It must have been when the character was having a resurgence or something, and they decided to pump out some art. But, no. But I was looking, I was surprised. I was like, wait a minute, I saw Finch's signature down in the bottom of the cover, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, Finch. Sweet. So it's like, what, 2 or 3 weeks in a row I've used Finch for thumbnails? It's fun. So what's your problem with this? This is at least up to Jim Lee's standards. Quiz.
Well, you know, he's a little bit too light on the lights for Jim Lee. Jim Lee doesn't really use a whole lot of white glare sort of thing to use highlights. He does a lot of low lights and does a lot of stark contrasts.
You don't
part
think
of the reason why he was so good when he went over to Batman.
You don't think that the highlights and glares and such, like especially off of her swords, there are more the work of the colorist than the penciler?
Well, the penciler, yeah. I think the penciler does guide the colorist, though, when it comes to the shades and whatnot. Especially if the color or the penciler is also the inker.
Everyone is bad. Yes, it is Psye-Lock. Is it not? Psylocke? Or is it Psylocke with E at the end of lock?
It might be an E at the end of lock. But
okay, so Psylocke.
Yes, it is.
Yes, okay, there we go. So this is Kyle. Can calm the hell down. Ooh, Ebony Williams is here. Hey, Ebony. Yeah, Mr. Monopoly, what is her name? And yeah, she's actually a fascinating character, but she doesn't look like that no more, Betsy Braddock. She's no longer a Japanese woman.
No, because she's Psylocke. Her whole story is like this mind fuck, because like her brain is part of this British woman, and then there's this intrigue with this ninja clan from China. Don't ask me how that works. Listen and believe. And then her brain gets swapped with this Japanese assassin, and then she looks like that for a while. And then they get like soul shattered by the original person that fused them back into their constituent parts. So the woman that was Psylocke is now another person. And fuck it.
Yeah. Mr. Monopoly's asking Marvel or DC. Very Marvel. She was a member of the X-Men.
She was, yeah.
Member of the X-Men for a while. Betsy Braddock, sister of Brian Braddock, Captain Britain. Yeah, very British woman. But then, like Quiz said, swapped into the body of a Japanese ninja and then back into her own body, but maintains the ninja skills because reasons. Whatever. But that actually leads into something else that I was reading about today that I found entertaining. Let me minimize that and go over here. And let's let a comic artist explain to us. There we go. School's readers on how to make a female superhero strong, not sexy. Because that'd be wrong.
All three of those women right there are sexy.
They totally are.
In their pictures. But okay, schoolers.
I think that's the point why they picked three pictures where it's like they all look sexy, but not
Excuse me, they're not sexy. You are sexualizing them with your male gaze.
Oh, well, I'm male and I have a gaze, so therefore I can't help it.
Man, you're evil. Can't
help it.
Repent.
Yeah, this is Cal says, why not both? Yeah, I hear you. I don't think that anybody, like, Rogue looks hot as hell in Savage Land Rogue, and of course I've done 2, I think, thumbnails of Savage Land Rogue. She appeared in a super minor amount of issues way back in the early 90s as Savage Land Rogue in that getup, and the getup has never died, and we've talked about that because it's a very iconic look for her as she got dumped there and had her costume ripped to shreds, so she goes around in this Savage Land being savage like such, trying to survive. It's actually a very short stint that she ends up looking like that in her torn costume, but whatever, it never dies, and everybody goes back to it as a reference of objectifying female characters.
You guys are just objectifying these poor girls. You need to say 15 Hail Sarkeesians, flog yourself on the back 5 times, and deny your penis 14.
Well, Pop-Tart says, why can't you be strong and sexy? Women can only be one? Question mark. We aren't good enough to be both. Well, no matter what, you're never going to win the conversation if you're a filthy penis possessor, Pop-Tart. So, let's just find out what the article says here.
See, this is why we need more women saying these things, but
that's right. And because they will tell us what to think, because, shut up and listen is always the claim. But remember, you have to shut up and listen when they're telling you about how you're toxically male at the same time. It all makes sense somehow.
I like Grisella's thing here. My male gaze or glaze, either one I'm okay with.
Nice.
Little from column A, little from column B.
Renea Deliz, let's go with that, is an Eisner Oscar-nominated artist who worked on The Legend of Wonder Woman. She is also on a personal mission to challenge artists to focus less on objectification and more on character. The mother of 4 recently took to Twitter to address the ways artists can add power to female characters. Quote, drawing women sexy is an automatic response to many artists, done without thought. DeLiz writes, I was like that for many years until I recognized it. You mean until you got woke? Cool. Now, the reason I didn't want to scroll too far is because she posts an example of this is drawn sexy and this is drawn strong. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here you go. No, I think I found this unintentionally comedic. This is how you de-objectify and add power to female characters. This is what's her name? Boob window woman, Power Girl.
Power Girl. Yeah.
Yeah. I really don't like the boob window costume. I never have. It's a personal taste. It's fine.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, no, I'm looking at these right now. Number 1, she has lips. Number 2 has no lips. Number 1 has feminine shoulders. Number 2 has masculine shoulders.
Okay.
Number 1 is turned at a weird angle, but nothing that's completely out of the ordinary for comic books.
Right.
Number 2 actually has a proper anatomical pose. Okay. So that's about the only thing I'll say about her number 2 drawing. Number 1, the high hip cut on her leotard is classic Power Girl.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Number 2
cuts above her belt here. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 2, she's working on fucking Daisy Dukes, and I loathe the idea because for a while they were actually trying to draw Power Girl with like Daisy Duke-esque cut off shorts, and it looked awful. It looked terrible.
Okay.
Another thing, number 1 has cleavage that go all the way up to the upper part of her breast. Number 1, there's almost no cleavage, which, by the way, completely defeats the point of the boob window for Power Girl. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
No, you can admire her pecs.
Yeah, right.
That looks like a dude.
Number
Actually,
1...
Monopoly's got a point. There is a slight bulge in number 2.
Well, number 1 looks like Power Girl. Number 2, if you trim her waist, bring the leotard up, and give her actual cleavage in her boob window, she would look like Power Girl. Oh, and thin her shoulders. She would look like Power Girl.
All right.
So there's a happy middle ground. This is not powerful, lady. This is your feminist ideal. Cram it. Number 1 isn't sexy either. I mean, we've criticized Rob Liefeld for impossible poses and spine breaking too.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, if you actually scroll back to the Christmas stream, one of the ones I did, there's whatever interchangeable female Liefeld character that he used, and I had to go into Photoshop and widen her waist to make her look human. I actually had to alter the picture so it didn't look so fucking ridiculous because I wanted to use it because it was a Christmas themed image. But so yeah, you can go full Liefeld and just become retarded with it. Absolutely. But you know.
So yeah, no, this almost defeats its purpose because neither one of these is good.
No,
I'm just gonna say it.
I think her point is that you have to take something that's sexy and more idealistic and turn it into more androgynous, and then it's empowering to be androgynous.
Funny you mentioned that. Have either of you actually seen her Wonder Woman?
No.
Renee DeLiz?
Yeah.
No.
This is her Wonder Woman.
Hold on, give me a quick sec. Here, let me show you the difference here, gentlemen. If you recall, there's fixed before being fixed. Fixed before being fixed. See that waist jump? Oh my God. And I had to change her butt angle and everything because her ass was sticking all the way out to here. And am I still sharing? Is everyone fine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Her butt was all the way out to here. I don't know if you can notice it. Quiz, you probably spotted it. It's replicated.
Oh yeah,
like right here in Photoshop, because I just cut it, moved it over, and didn't spend like hours working on it. I could have fixed that, but who cares? But yeah, her butt was all the way out to here, and her waist was all the way into here, and so I had to like lengthen her back, move out her waist. I mean, like, yeah, Liefeld draws retarded women. Like, this isn't anatomically correct even after being fixed. So yeah, you're damn right. I agree. There's a happy fucking medium, to be sure. So you were there we go.
And I say, I'm just saying here, this is her Wonder Woman. And when did Diana gain so much in the waist?
She is body positive.
That is very body positive. I agree.
I'm just saying she looks fat.
I don't know, Chad. You think she looks fat?
She's had a few wings. There's a sale, B-dubs.
And first of all, I gotta address it real quick. Mr. Monopoly asked, why does Power Girl have to show cleavage in her costume? It's the boob window, and the boob window actually does have canonical reference. The boob window is because she is from another Earth, and she doesn't want to adopt the Superman S logo of her alternate Earth counterpart Supergirl, because she's the same woman as Supergirl. It's just she's older because she's from a different alternate reality, and she's like a refugee because that alternate reality was destroyed. So she doesn't want to adopt the Superman-esque moniker, and she's trying to figure out a symbol that represents her but hasn't yet, and so leaves the symbol blank, aka a big hole.
So her symbol is boob part. You know, separate the space between the boobs.
The funny thing is that actually good writers have brought that up several times and addressed it in comedic and poignant ways. So I don't know. It's, you know, in my opinion, it's good. I like
boobs.
Well, I like Power Girl. I think Power Girl is actually an interesting and good character.
Well, now I'm not being a big fan of the character of Wonder Woman. I can't say that I've read a lot of Wonder Woman comics, definitely. So I can't really say what she looks like one way or another as drawn by DeLiz. As far as I know, that's the first image that I've seen of her, the one that you posted there, Quiz. What I think women can be drawn a lot of different ways, and I don't really know if this particular posted picture here is the best point-to-point comparison. Okay, here, let's talk about why I brought this up is because I wanted, Jack, do you have any thoughts on these two before I go down to what she says to fill it out? That's part of the thing that I wanted to do, is what you thought about the two images. And then she does break them down in 7 points. That's why, hence the numbers, but I wanted your thoughts, your guys' thoughts on them before I went down and talked about what she says about the 7 points.
I think this is just more nonsense. Jim's posting some links in the chat of other images this woman's done of Wonder Woman where she's actually pretty feminine.
Oh, yeah?
But
yeah.
It says you guys are looking at something from 2016.
Yeah, I'm aware. The articles from, I don't know why there needed to be 5 exclamation marks. Yeah. No, I was quite clear about that because I didn't try and hide that it's from August 3rd, 2017, this particular article. And like I said, I was reading through about different things and just came across this article today. And I don't know, has she radically changed DeLiz's opinions? Have they radically changed from that time? I'm not trying to claim that they have or haven't. Let's just take a look at this picture she posted. Yeah, she didn't look fat there.
Well, it's one of those things where editorial might have been like, look, make it a little more feminized or dress it up a little.
Well, I have to wonder, when was these two that Jim posted from? Because that looks like, the last one there, the one that you showed, was from 2012. The one that I showed, the one of Legend of Wonder Woman, where I said she would look kind of fat, was from 2016.
I don't know. The point here.
So Wonder Woman put on a few pounds in between those images. So she went from the 2012 one, which probably just showed, to the one Quiz showed. So she's been moo cowing it up a little bit. Maybe she needs to hit the gym at the Watchtower.
Well,
I'll Batman be like, come on, you got to lose some clay.
Maybe or maybe not. The point is not how she draws Wonder Woman. The point is the 7 points that she describes in this tweet, exemplified by this picture.
I think it's just like the Captain Marvel effect.
which is
you went from a pretty girl to Carl Manvers, so they're trying to make people more androgynous looking. You're starting to see less like big buff guys and more like yoga instructor guys, which, you know, instead of bodybuilder, you're looking like you're just sort of semi in shape or whatever. They're just making it people more androgynous because it's easier to draw. You don't have to put curves in. You can have more straight lines. And I just think it's lazy is all it is. It's just people being lazy.
It may or may not be. Let's find out what she says about her 7 points. Left is a common expression for comics. Eyes are lidded. Mouth is pouty. It's looked to promote a sense of sexiness and lessens personality. I'm not really sure if it lessens personality, but definitely pouty lips are a thing. That
nope, beautiful people are not as good as the rest of us dumb, ugly people.
I guess the lidded eyes, I kind of get what she's talking about there. The right is personality and uniqueness first.
Really?
I guess what she's trying to argue there is that there's personality. Her personality is not defined as sexy and sultry immediately. Therefore, there's the chance of all other personality. Because I don't really see. I mean, come on, like in simple faces, like both of them, could you argue that there's personality in either one? I would say no.
I think it, like, at least in terms of facial expression, it's very contextual. It all depends on what the scene is, you know, what's happening in the screen is the scene and the reaction to it.
I think a lot of what struck me as so odd is like, this is posed that, you know, her shot here, right? It doesn't classic comic book pose for a female superheroine. This one does not look posed. It looks awkward. Like, what is she doing?
She's farting.
And well, it looks odd. Like, is she stepping on something? And it doesn't even look like a natural way to step on something. And then I realized when you get down to number 7, which we're going to jump ahead, it's heels. Modern heels are generally used to amplify stance and increase visual appeal. I like them, but if I were a hero, not too realistic. Most important is, what would your character choose? It's very difficult to be a hero around stilettos. Consider low or no heels. I think the whole reason she's in this awkward pose is so she could fit no heels, like to show that they're flats or embedded, that there's, what do they call them when they're solid along the bottom but still raised up in the back? Whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what she's going for here. Like, it's I guess a flat with still a raised heel in the back. Mike Perlett wants me to zoom in. Yeah, I guess I can do that.
I have no problem with getting rid of the high heels. That's fine. I always thought those looked stupid.
Yeah.
But it still won't make her hips look mannish.
Let's say I'm curious now, because I'm actually going through and looking for references to Power Girl in comics. Did she ever really even have heels?
I don't know. Did she? I don't read Power Girl.
I know Wonder Woman had heels on her boots for a while. I'm sure Power Girl did too. Probably in the 70s. That was a big 70s and 60s thing. Peter said something good. He said they're not meant to be realistic. They're super.
Well, I'm gonna
kind of what our point is, I think.
Yeah.
I definitely want to touch on that at the end with the whole, like, how they're, quote, meant to look. Number 2, commonly taught way to draw breasts or fully separated circles sticking out is your intent, and the intent is to highlight sex appeal. Yeah. It's not realistic for a hero. Okay. What's realistic?
That's not objective. That's subjective. What is realistic for a hero?
And on the right, it says what's realistic for your hero. Athletes need major support, i.e. sports bras. Yeah, fair enough. Which would have a different look, considering not all heroes have double Ds. I think she ended up going from, like, you know, your stylized sex appeal breasts to, like, they're weird. They're oddly shaped. Was she attempting a sports bra look there? Because sports bra tends to be confining in the sense of firm support. Like, you know,
that doesn't look like pancakes.
Well, even firm support, but then again, that would be showing through the boob window too, wouldn't it? I went and I actually looked at Power Girl's costumes from throughout the years. Okay. I
just popped the link into chat for those of you who wanted to open it up in your own browser and see it more clearly.
If I can give some major criticism here to Renee, I know why you chose Power Girl. All right. Everyone knows why you chose her.
I don't. Why?
she is the most iconic for sexy for no terribly apparent reason character, namely because of the boob window.
Ow.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the reason why you chose her. You could not have chosen a worse character to do this, though. Especially given the fact that, like, in your first image here, she's got those, like, stripper stiletto heels.
Did she ever have them?
No. She barely had heels in any of her costumes. I'm looking at her original costume. Here,
I think she's thinking of Wonder Woman with those, because I know Wonder Woman had them.
Like, take a look at this. This is like the first Power Girl costume. That don't have a heel. Not at all.
Yeah, Ryan Walters says, isn't Starfire a little sexy for no reason? That's why Firestar is the best Starfire.
God, fuck you.
I'm not wrong.
If you go back that women have boobs, then all women characters are going to be sexy. Women have breasts and they're wearing skin tight outfits. It's going to highlight their breasts. Give me a break.
I mean, it's tough to disagree with her statement here. It says where the intent is to highlight sex appeal. I would argue appeal generally. Like, is it meant to highlight their physical appeal? Damn right. I'm not really going to argue with her on that one because, and the only question is there something wrong with that? I would say no. Because if you want to get into like what's realistic for your hero, she wouldn't be wearing any of this at all if it was like hyper realistic. She'd be wearing something completely different. Like superhero outfits in their entirety are unrealistic. If you want completely realistic shit, I don't know, go train with an infantry force, and then you'll find out what combat to combat looks like when there aren't any superheroes, because the superpowers themselves and people flying isn't realistic. There's only so much. The question of when you're going to, in a fantasy comic, start drawing lines of realism, that has got to be a blurry boundary between the realism inside of a comic books world versus the realism of our world. You know,
they're supposed to be like demigods. You know, they're supposed to be more perfect than us, so they're going to be physically perfect, mentally more perfect, etc., and have all these cool abilities. They're not supposed to look like they're going out into a war zone wearing full body armor, tactical armor. No, that doesn't. You wouldn't be able to distinguish them, for one, so you wouldn't know who's who. And we don't want to look at androgynous ideals.
Well, I want to get on to number 3. It's like arms are closer to supermodel size on the left. What best fits your hero? If she's strong, she'll be very built. Give her muscles. I guess she does look more built on the right, but it doesn't.
The shoulders are what bugs me, because that's women don't have that broad of shoulders. They just don't.
Like, you know what I keep flashing back to is the I think it's Sideshow of Savage Land Rogue, where she looks ripped as fuck. Like, she definitely beat me in an arm wrestling match. But she by no means looks bulky. So she looks womanly but muscled. So I think there's a way of doing both where it doesn't, you don't just have to make the person thicker and wider and therefore convey musculature, in my opinion.
Hold on. Let me give a real world example here. If I can
hands on the left are set in a way to promote a sense of softness. It lessens her power. Be sure the hands are set in a way to promote strength. So the bent wrist, I'm assuming, versus the straight fistedness. Yeah, okay. You know, one thing I've always noticed about Spider-Man is the way that he's drawn is always with cocked hands and bent fingers to convey articulateness, because he's a spider. He can crawl and up and over and around things. That would be a very common hand gesture for Spider-Man to have. I don't know if it's meant to convey softness as much as it is spryness. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Or deftness, maybe.
Yeah.
But the what you were referring to, though, Polly, is the Vince Vell customs statue, and this is the one you're talking about.
Well, what do I see? Oh yeah, I mean, she looks muscled as fuck now.
Yeah.
And it comes unpainted, does it not? Like, looks like somebody did a pretty fantastic job painting that.
Oh yeah. That the dude that makes these statues, they're unassembled and unpainted.
Wow. Yeah, just thinking back on that one, like the detail that the sculptor put into the hair is like, if anything, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's wild levels of detail in her hair. But yeah, she looks ripped as fuck. She certainly doesn't look like somebody that wouldn't be able to outrun you, outjog you, or outfight you. It's yeah. Anyway, so hold on. Let's just go over the rest of her things here really quick and wrap this particular article up because we've got a whole bunch of tabs for today. It's common to see the arch and twist in female comics. Yeah, where you see their ass and tits at the same time. Twist the body are powerful in an art tool. Boy can do, but stick to what can realistically be done and use arches without intent to boob and butt perk. Yeah, I get the idea of the boob and butt perk. Again, I think the way she's drawn it on the right is meant to obviously compare it to the one on the left. She just looks so awkward in the pose, but I get the pose is largely coming out of this as a reference point.
See, like, and that's what I'm talking about too with the part on the right. It's not necessarily everything from like her chest down that's necessarily that bad. Like that is all in proportion and looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the parts that I find kind of strange is everything from the chest up. Because she's got an extremely square jawline. She's got extremely broad shoulders. No definition in her breasts. That doesn't look like a woman. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
Well, I understand that very athletic people tend to have flat chests.
Yeah.
But her boobs look weird here. Either make her completely flat, like a really athletic person, or, do something different because it looks very confusing the way it's drawn. It doesn't look realistic or perfectionist
or fantastic.
Yeah. Maybe she's got boob implants. Why are you shaming?
Why are you shaming?
Are they Kryptonian boob implants?
Yeah, maybe. You don't know.
Well, not to get too Brody on this, but I think if she were to get, first of all, there's no scalpel on Earth that would be able to cut into her flesh to give her regular boob implants. And then second of all, the Kryptonian biology would just pop those breast implants as soon as they're put in. I'm just saying, man.
Yeah. Okay. So number 6 is
see, Kevin Smith, I can write for you. Hire me.
The one on the left feels like she's posing. The right feels like she's standing heroically. Make overall pose and functionality versus sexually appealing. You know what? Again, I'm going to repeat myself here, but it's like, yeah, the left absolutely does look like a pose. Totally. The right just looks like it looks awkward as fuck, and I think it's because you're trying to show your heel, the heel, the fact that she doesn't have heels on. Like, hey, look at the bottom of my foot, no heel. And it ends up making her standing weird because of anatomical requirements. And because it's in reference to what's going on over here, you ended up making her look awkward standing. So no, she doesn't look like she's heroically posing. She doesn't. Let's go back up here. So we got Rogue on the right here, right? Like, she doesn't look like she's posing. She looks like she's literally just standing there and has been standing there for a while, looking outward over a cliff. That's it.
Yeah.
If that's sexy and not functional, or whatever the fuck, I don't know. Yeah, also, I miss it.
Also, one thing I do need to bring up too, scroll back down. I can't help but notice the fact that it's one very, very important thing here that may also be throwing everything off. How to explain this? Is it just because these are sketches? But she's not anatomically correct, period. She's not. Okay.
Who? Which one?
Both of these Power Girls.
Oh.
Okay. The reason why is because if you scroll back up. All right. Look at Rogue for a second. Okay. Look at the position.
Just for the record, I really don't like that Supergirl, but go ahead.
Well, I'll even get to that in a second here. All three of these are anatomically correct. Why? Because if you look at their arms, all right, Especially, I want to draw focus on Rogue right now, right? Look at where her elbow is compared to, say, her belly button. Okay? Straight across, and her arm is slightly raised. All right? If you were to remove the foreshortening and have her arm directly down at her side, her hand should end up at about, I don't know, halfway down her thigh. Okay? Now, if you stand up, for all those people that are watching, stand up and put your arms directly at your sides. Where do the tips of your fingers end up? They should be right at your middle thigh. All right. Now scroll back down. Why she got so short arms?
It was probably just a fast sketch. I think it's like you said. I don't think that she was doing this as a. I mean, she does have short arms, by what you're arguing. Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's throwing me off a lot.
Yeah, I think these are just quick sketches to illustrate her point. Like I said, I was very much more interested in the particular points that she made. I don't even really think that they're wrong. I was just curious as to the arguments she made. I don't really think that. Man, I really hope that the difference between those sketches are not indicative of the way that she thinks a character should look on the right, more of guidelines to do them. I wouldn't even be opposed to half the arguments that she makes here. Well, most of them. I mean, what's the problem? The only issue that I really take with is when she starts talking about like realism. Is it realistic? Is it realistic? I don't know. So in the end, there was a posting I think was funny is drawing Superman in that same pose made me laugh.
Yeah. Would these people have the same sort of problems they have with women if men were drawn like that? Or drawn sexy? Because I'll tell you what, they are.
Well, I would argue this. It is not common that men, when they're in a fight, will, pose like wrestlers pose in professional wrestling, which they do on a regular basis, which is meant to accentuate the male form in terms of like the upper body V kind of thing. They do it all the time. They stand there and they do muscle poses or whatever. Is that objectifying them? No, I would say it's amplifying male physique in a classic, likely stereotypical way. Yeah, so that's my call on it. If you watch professional wrestling, would that be called objectification of males? I don't know.
I would. See, that's the thing is that like it's either all or nothing, man. Because the problem is when people bring up the whole objectification argument, it goes under the assumption that objectification is necessarily a bad thing, or supposed to be improper, immoral, or any of the bad things, right? You can make a sexually appealing character and have that be part of their character. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It comes down to whether or not you believe that it is worthy or required for the character in the story you're trying to tell. If it's not, then it's down to a stylized choice and whether or not because one thing that immediately comes to mind for me is Wildstorm, namely the Wild Cats. When Jim Lee drew Zealot and Voodoo, he didn't need to make them ridiculously sexy. He did. And I think that was a part of the appeal of it because, regardless of whether or not you're engrossed in the story, you're going to definitely be looking for the extremely sexy looking pictures. Mm-hmm. And then you get engrossed in the story afterwards, or, vice versa or whatever. Sex is not a bad thing. Isn't that supposed to be something that we should have been moved past by now?
Hmm.
Why are people so sex negative about it? I mean, that's the reason why people bring up the argument about, why is it okay to objectify a man and not objectify a woman? That's the reason why that argument gets brought up, because sex is not necessarily a bad thing. It shouldn't be a bad thing. Why are people trying to make it a bad thing?
Well, yeah. It certainly becomes a big thing. I don't know. You got me. I'm at a fucking loss on it. I don't know. I think we've covered that back and forth pretty fucking good. I wanted to go over there because, like I said, it was the first time I came across that article today after putting together the thumbnail, and I wanted to see what she had to say about it. It was only after looking at that picture for a second time that I even realized that was supposed to be Power Girl. It was the boob window that gave it away. Man, what an indication of a costume for a character, huh? The boob window.
I was gonna say you've never read Power Girl stuff. I actually really like
haven't
Power
at
Girl.
all.
I actually really like Power Girl. I think she's actually a really interesting character. The dynamic of her being from a completely separate reality and, kind of forced to live in a reality where she already exists is kind of an interesting story plot.
I wanted to. This is actually an article that Jack, who unfortunately has left us.
It's probably his internet.
Yeah. Actually, I'll come back to that article. Wait to see if he ends up coming back. Oh, here's an article where I can bug you a little bit, Quiz. So therefore, good.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Kevin Smith and Jim Lee reveal the secret origin of Batman's bat symbol.
Well, apparently, in the 70s, I think they gave a reason why his bat symbol is yellow on the outside of the bat is because it was supposed to be a target.
That was in 1986 in Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, it was a bullseye on his chest so that the villains would try to shoot him and not
his head.
Yeah, well, and not innocent bystanders.
Well, they actually do include that scene right down here from Dark Knight Returns where he does get shot square in the chest to reveal the metal plating underneath it. And he said, "Why do you think that I put a bullseye?" Like in his thought bubble narration, Bruce Wayne / Batman is saying to himself in that shot, "Why do you think that I put a bullseye on my chest?" It's like, yeah, exactly. So they'd unconsciously aimed there instead of at my unarmored face at the bottom of my cowl here. What kind of bugs me about this article the most is that CBR has a tendency to do this, and it's to call things exclusive. The question is, what is exclusive about this article? You would tend to assume that it's an interview or a bit of information. It's I don't know, a scoop that they have of some sort. Yeah, I mean, no, they do it like they call anything that they've written that isn't republished from somewhere else a CBR exclusive, and I find that really frustrating. I read through this whole article before I posted it here, or before I put it up as a tab to read through, and there is nothing that they have that nobody else has. And why this is being talked about is because Detective Comics 1000, is a big deal coming out. And it's a once in a lifetime incident to have a nice 4-digit round number for Detective Comics like that. Jack, welcome back.
Thank you.
Internet trouble?
Yeah. Chrome trouble specifically.
Tell me about it.
We all hate those.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I hate Chrome. I don't know. It just doesn't really get along with my computer.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jack, reading an article on the origin of Batman's bat symbol.
Yeah.
Which is a CBR exclusive,
Yeah, from 1989.
And what kills me is that, like, spoilers, if you don't want to hear, close your ears, okay? In Detective Comics 1000, he melts down the gun that he got from Joe Chill, and that's what he made his armor plating out of underneath his chest plate. So that's Joe Chill's the guy who shot his parents dead in Crime Alley, and he took the pistol that he did it with. He ends up melting it down, and that's the metal he used to create the plating you see under there. Now, what I find funny about that is the origin of his symbol, and it's like, it's not really the origin of his symbol at all.
It's the origin of the plate that he's using under the symbol that he's using as a bullseye for his chest.
Yeah, it's basically just a like bang, 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 and then ping, ping, ping. Yeah, get them to aim there and hope that they're expert marksmen.
You don't do that in case it's a high-powered round. It shatters the metal into your flesh. You use ceramic. That's why they use ceramic plating, not
Well,
metal.
Then the gun that would have killed his parents would have killed him too.
Yeah, that seems very suicidal. And besides, in Detective Comics 966 and 967, they reference that the gun is still in existence.
Oh.
I do like the guise that he uses. Like, he pretends to be a lowdown criminal, Bruce Wayne, in his disguise mode, and matches Malone.
Matches Malone, yeah.
I love that.
Malone.
That is priceless. I haven't thought about that in so long.
Well, the best part about it is that no one has ever figured out that Matches Malone is Bruce Wayne, aka Batman.
Yeah.
No one. Matches Malone has been a figure in the Gotham underworld for forever. And no one's figured it out. Wherever Matches Malone goes, eventually the Batman shows up. Oh, but Matches Malone always gets away.
Yeah, and what kills me is that, like, in other comics, they can connect such things, right? I wonder if it's just a conceit of the Gotham Batman world that this keeps happening. But I hear you, because people start asking Peter Parker, how is it you're always in just the right place to take pictures of Spider-Man?
Yeah, right?
Betty Brand asked him, J. Jonah Jameson asked him, Robbie Robertson asked him. Like, I mean, come on, man, you always seem to be there. Like, you guys are obviously in cahoots, right? Where Peter started having to lie about it and say, yeah, I found out, and like, you said, it's okay if I take pictures of them. Because people aren't stupid. But I guess in the world of Gotham, no one can understand a connection between Matches Malone and Batman and Bruce Wayne. It's interesting. Mr. Monopoly asks, I thought it was the Joker, as explained in the 1989 movie Batman. Okay, I mean, that it was, what was his name? Jack what? What was the Joker's
name? Jack
Napier.
Jack Napier, thank you. Yeah. It was Jack Napier who had shot his kids and even had the same sidekick back in the day, remember?
Yeah.
That guy had been his sidekick forever and a day.
But yeah, that Bob?
Was just Bob. That's right.
His name is Bob the Goon.
You're kidding. Is it Bob the Goon?
Yeah, that was the name in the credits and on the toys. Bob the Goon.
That's good enough for me. I love it. Bob the Goon. I want people like that. I want henchmen where it's like, it's Bob the Goon, Steve the Ruffian.
That's
henchman.
That great. Origin is only in that movie. In the comic, it's consistently stayed as Joe Chill.
Yep.
Largely.
Which is worse than Bob the Goon, if you ask me. Joe Chill was always cringy as fuck as a name.
Well, that sounds like some kind of street name that some idiot would give themselves.
Yeah, Joe Chill.
You never give yourself a nickname.
He puts his mugging victims on ice.
Yeah,
he's Joe Chill. There's only other one thing that Jack Napier shows up in, and that's Batman White Knight.
Yeah, so it ended up happening in the 89 movie, no question, but that was just a connection to have within the 2-hour time frame of that story to make it much more poignant that when Bruce Wayne is sitting back in the Batcave and he's thinking back on his past. And he says, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? And then he hears the Joker say that later on at Vicky Vale's apartment, and it clicks with him and so forth. It was just to make it more poignant inside the film. But no, yeah, Joe Chill for fucking decades has been the Thomas and Martha Wayne killer for sure. Yeah,
there's a really good storyline where Bruce confronts Joe Chill in Detective Comics, and he has the gun with him, and he's going to shoot Joe Chill with his own gun.
Yeah, that's in year 2, no?
Yeah, I think it is. Todd McFarlane did the covers for it. I think he did some of the interior art. I want to say Frank Miller wrote that, but I'm not sure.
No, Frank Miller just wrote year 1. Hold on.
Let
me look on my bookshelf. I got it right here. Year 2. Oh shit! Alan Davis did the interior art. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, it's Mike Barr, wasn't it? No, he wrote the Year of the Reaper. Did he? Okay.
Yeah, but the infamous cover here with Bruce Wayne and the bloody cross cut across his bat symbol, which doesn't make any sense. What about the metal plating for? Well, he's holding the 1911 in his hand, so I guess he hadn't melted it down in a metal plating yet. So yeah, that's where he must have gotten the idea from.
All those covers are fantastic from that time. That was
Yeah.
That was amazing.
So there is that article. Jack, I held off doing this one that you had sent me, I believe. I think you sent this to me. Science fiction and fantasy author Fonda Lee decries Barnes & Noble stocking J.R.R. Tolkien and Robert Jordan books. We are competing with dead guys.
Oh my God.
I don't have any time. Well, hold on. I don't have any serious time to spend on this. I just find it snicker worthy. Let's move on kind of thing.
Do you not realize the fact that people are prolific even after their death? That is a thing.
No, they're evil white men with penises.
Yes, let's read her tweet, shall we? This is what modern fantasy writers are up against. In my local Barnes & Noble, most authors are lucky to find a copy of their book. Super lucky if it's face out. There are 3.5 shelves for Tolkien and 1.5 for Jordan. Here's who we compete against for shelf space. Not each other, but dead guys. And
well,
it's like,
I'm just glad she didn't find Shakespeare's section.
Yeah,
right?
Or, the one thing I do have to say, though, it is kind of ridiculous for 3.5 shelves of Tolkien. I mean, Tolkien wrote some books, right? He wrote some books. You don't need that many, spaces for Lord of the Rings. You don't. Lord of the Rings is 3 books. Hobbit's 1 book. You can stock
Silmarillion.
Well, it'll make you a little bit happier that they actually fact check her in this Bounding into Comics article where they say if you actually fuck off with the bullshit.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It's actually not that much shelf space. There's the short version of the story. It's only a shelf less for each one than she claims. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Robert Jordan, comparatively speaking to J.R.R. Tolkien, where, J.R.R. Tolkien has the Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit, and the Silmarillion as his crowning books. Robert Jordan wrote twice as many fucking books.
Yeah, but these books sell better. So you're going to have different editions of it because some people want a hardbound leather one and some people just want the paperback. And these are classics. They're going to sell better. She's just bitching because she's not a good writer.
And I mean, I
have no idea what she wrote, to be fair, but at the same time, it's like those are there because they sell.
Right?
Well, Faithless says that it's about volume sales, and then Peter says it's not against dead guys, it's against better books. Okay, it's the fantasy section, which is not the largest draw in any Barnes & Noble. And be happy to even have a Barnes & Noble that hasn't shut down because Amazon took them out of business. If you got a local bookstore that you're going to, what's going to draw people over to the fantasy section is the most famous of fantasy books. It's like getting upset going over to the graphic novel section and being, Jesus Christ, how many years has The Dark Knight Returns been printed for? Shut up. It's like, oh God, Watchmen is on 3 different editions of the Watchmen. Do we really need that? Listen, I think the Watchmen's overrated, but there's no question it's a seminal work and it's going to draw people to the graphic novel section before other things. Get over it. Oh, the manga section. Fuck, Akira's here again. Quit bitching. This is what draws people there. They're popular editions. Popular means something.
Paulie, you're not getting it. Watchmen was written by a couple of white dudes and it's taking up space that Carol Danvers could have. This is taking up Kelly Sue DeConnick's space that she, as a woman, is entitled to. She is woke. But the more important thing is, you know who else's books are not available at the bookstore? Mine. And here's a link where you can buy them.
I said this was a week of shill-ery, and Jack's just matching suit.
Well, yeah.
I will admit what I said off stream because I own my words. But most of them are jokes, but I own them nonetheless. When this was sent out and I saw this, and it was I clicked on Fonda Lee, I'm like, oh gosh, she's going to carry on about white men. Come on, seriously, admit it. Who else is surprised that the non-white fantasy writer didn't call out dead white men, just called out dead guys?
Yeah, just dead guys, not even dead men. Yeah. It's so credit to her, she didn't do it. That's okay. Yeah, I was wrong. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I fully admit that. It's like, holy shit, you didn't go the easy route. Good on you. Mm-hmm. Because she would have look at the likes she got, 4,100 likes on that, and it's probably jumped the fuck up then because this is from March 9th, and a whole bunch of people, 1,800 plus people talking about it. Cool. I think that she would have spiked another 1,500, 2,500 likes if she had just said,
dead white dudes. Don't call them men. Don't call them guys. Call them dudes.
Well, she
That's
doesn't
what Brie
know how they
Larson does.
sexually identify. Maybe they're agender. She doesn't know, so she has to say dudes.
I just noticed whenever you want to be derisive of white guys, you call them white dudes. That's the way Brie Larson does it, right? It's a way of being insulting, but kind of getting away with it. But saying like, "Come on, are you so sensitive that we can't call you a dude?" It's like, I don't know. If you rolled around saying Asian dudes and black dudes, it wouldn't go over very well. It just wouldn't. And like I said, I just noticed the consistency on behalf of the people that are saying it. Jordan Peele, when he says, it's like, somebody asked, would you ever hire a white lead for your role? Or I don't know the question he was asked, but he said, no, I wouldn't hire a white dude for my role because I've already seen that film. And I think people misinterpreted and said that he wouldn't hire any white actors at all, which confused me because there's a whole bunch of white actors in Get Out. So what the hell were they complaining about? But apparently
they were all the villains.
They were the villains. Okay. But like, I want to know kind of what the question he was asked was, that he responded that way. Was somebody said like, why do you always have black leads? Like, what was the question he was asked? He responded like that.
He asked if you would cast a white lead.
Just straight out like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And his response, would you cast a white lead? He said, I wouldn't cast a white dude. That's kind of an odd way of saying it.
I think
whatever.
Dude is like the new attempt at creating like an insult. It's not quite on level with cracker, but it's working on it.
I mean, I'm not so sensitive about coded word choice where I'm going to get all worried about it. It's just like, why are you guys all doing this? Like, what do you trade memos or something? What the hell?
It might just be lazy way of talking too. Like, because let's face it, Jordan Peele's not that smart.
You don't think he's... I've never actually watched Jordan Peele in an interview. He doesn't come across as smart?
I don't think he's terribly smart, but
no.
I also think he's a racist, so what do I know? I'm just a white dude.
So who wants to hear about gay Captain Marvel?
Oh, yeah, I heard about this one.
CBR for the win. Like I said, it's a week of shill-ery. Let's do it. We have to talk about something, God damn it. Captain Marvel is still in some theaters. We got to keep talking about it, damn it. But we're not going to get up from behind our word processor and go actually talk to somebody or investigate a story where we can actually have something to write about. No, Ronaldo Matatine in a CBR exclusive, Jack. It's exclusive.
Of course it is.
Let's see what it says. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has made it clear that progressive storytelling and inclusivity will be an even bigger part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the wake of the Infinity Saga. We've seen some of this already, from Black Panther's Wakanda Forever being embraced globally, and our audience have greeted the message of feminism in Captain Marvel.
Wait. Wakanda Forever was being embraced globally?
Well, says them in their CBR exclusive, but they also said that audience greeted the message of feminism. Why didn't they just say embraced? They embraced it. I don't think they did, but whatever. Of course, the Brie Larson helmed film. Why don't you just say starring film or leading film? Like, helmed makes it sound like she was the writer, director, and star. Of course, the Brie Larson helmed film has opened the door for the studio to make an even bigger statement by presenting the new face of the MCU as a straight up LGBT character. Now, I'm gonna guess that even though this is labeled as a CBR exclusive, this is going to be completely speculative guesswork that they should make Captain Marvel gay, not that there's any indication that they will. Talk, right? They're just shooting there. This is a blog post is what I'm getting at. Larson has already playfully stoked these flames on social media, enthusiastically sharing fan art of her and Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie in a romantic lockup. Valkyrie is a bisexual in the MCU, though we haven't seen it on screen, and there's something deeper to mine here, more than shipping. Why can't the strongest Avenger out there, who's been leading the new era of Marvel movies, be gay? Fans have already found hidden context in Captain Marvel that has led to theories about Carol's sexuality. Where, when, links. You linked other things in a romantic hookup, Kevin Feige. Where was this said other than the deep, dark corners of the internet where people ship anybody and everybody? Come on, where? You fucks. She has no male love interest in the movie and has always appeared hell-bent on bringing the patriarchy down, whether on Earth or Hala. Some even feel that there might be more than just adoration between her and Annette Bening's Marvel, or with her best friend Maria Rambeau. By the closing credits of Avengers Endgame, Captain Marvel may very well have become the most popular hero in the MCU, as well as the most powerful, a designation she's already well on her way towards claiming. What the fuck are you talking about? This is all just the worst kind of guesswork. Like, and just shitty wishful thinking. This isn't even a blog post. It's somebody like writing to their friend in an email. Outside of her fictional reality, where she'll play a key role in taking down Thanos, you're guessing her film is nearing the $1 billion box office mark, and that's despite a dogged campaign of comic book fans to ensure the film's failure.
Oh no!
Yeah, I know. A general audience has embraced the hero's progressive style. They went and saw the movie. They didn't start marching with placards. What in the fucking hell are you talking about?
I was gonna say, first of all, it wasn't that big of a the draw is not Captain Marvel. It isn't. The draw is Endgame. Okay? They sandwiched Captain Marvel between the Avengers movies because you had to see it to see Endgame is the reason why people are seeing it. Okay?
Well, I know Kevin Feige said that. I think the reason they're seeing it is because it's a Marvel movie. When have they ever done terribly? I mean,
no, because she's in Endgame, so you have to kind of, if you're not familiar with the character, you'll want to see what the teaser is leading into Endgame.
Exactly,
and it was really disappointing.
It's strategic because she couldn't hold up a movie by herself. They had to put it in between two really big movies that people want to see. So that's the reason why it's doing so well. Because I don't think that if there wasn't Endgame hype and if there wasn't Infinity War before it, there would be no reason for anyone to see Captain Marvel.
Well, rounding out the last little bit of this story, outside of her fictional reality, and I love the line that comes next, her film is nearing the $1 billion mark, and that's despite the dogged campaign to ensure its failure. The general audience has embraced the hero's progressive style and what she stands for, inspiring girls and women globally. By making her queer, the studio would jump to the forefront of gay rights everywhere. By presenting Carol Danvers as a feminist, a strong woman, and a hero with an unbreakable will who just so happens to be an LGBT representative would be a remarkable way to help shape the MCU's future. In your opinion, through your vision of what should be promoted globally to everybody, because seriously, do you really believe that the gay rights agenda is a strong agenda that is popularly accepted in China? I said on Monkey in the Morning last night, I think it's a good thing for them to make Captain Marvel gay. I do, and here's why. I want to see you a bridge too far into the land of stupidity. Now, I want to see them. I want to see eye rolls publicly going, why? Why'd you make the main character gay? Because in the first movie, she didn't have a male love interest, therefore she must be a lesbian? What the fuck is that? And then the obvious question, there she is with Maria Rambeau. What, they just can't be friends? There's no other man around, so therefore these two women suddenly must be scissoring?
No,
Isn't that kind of fucking stupid?
Hang on. There's going to be a time jump of 20-some years, so it's not going to be Maria. It'll be Monica.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Point.
So
which makes it really weird.
Daughter?
Yeah, it's going to be weird because she knew her when she was a little kid, and that presents a whole lot of interesting speculation on the part of detractors.
Yeah.
So
I don't think the idea of a gay character is right or wrong, but what I find funny is the idea of it was to give something for women to be inspired by was a minor part of it. It was, let's take underprivileged POC youth to see this film and inspiring woman on film, blah, 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 because women have nothing to look up to. Don't look over here at this spectacularly successful and good and interesting comic book film called Wonder Woman. Pretend that didn't happen. Marvel's the first one to do this. We're it. Which is, of course, total bullshit, but whatever.
Okay, there's a couple things I have to get out. All right, I have to.
No, hold on. Let me just finish this thought. Why? They don't need to be lesbians. They're just friends, for Christ's sake. Anyway, I think it would be a good thing. And because when would you cross that bridge into the land of stupidity? When it's like, well, of course she's a lesbian. She doesn't have a man around. And that's a good signal to send at young girls that aren't anywhere near puberty that you want to go see this film, that women, should be lesbians. This is the inspiration you want them to see. How's that going to play in China? Do it, Marvel. Do it. I double fucking dog dare you. I want to see you go so far that people go, oh, fuck off, Marvel. I want the phrase virtue signal to enter the common lexicon, not just the lexicon of so-called alt-right fanboys on Twitter, because I'm most definitely not a part of the alt-right, but I get grouped in with them all the time. It's like, go ahead, make these two a lesbian couple. The Aryan-looking goddess over here, the blonde hair, blue-eyed Southern California hip girl with the black woman. Yeah, they got to be lesbians because there's no man around. Show the ignorance. Do it. I dare you. I want to see it. Yeah. Okay, Quiz, you were saying.
I'm getting more and more angry looking at your screen, Polly. I am.
Do you want me to take it down?
Not because of anything from this stupid article, and it is stupid.
It is stupid. It's just it's
seeing the trending now. Gwenpool unpacking the weird Marvel experiment that can't stop, won't stop. Make it stop. Please, the hurting must end. Gwenpool is awful. There is nothing good about Gwenpool. Make it end.
Hey,
please.
Quiz. Look here. See a tab right there? It's coming up.
No. No.
We're going to cover it, man. It's the week of shill-ery. We're covering it.
And
it's
second of all,
a tab.
Second of all, this is way, way, way before they're talking about the world embracing Wakanda forever. Now, is that just, are they embracing it because it's a meme based around the movie? Because when I was looking this up, I saw that Wakanda forever is actually in the Urban Dictionary. All right. But the other thing that I know about, because I actually read comic books, is that Wakanda Forever is the name of a comic book. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
How is it a worldwide phenomenon when it shipped 1,392 comics for its seminal issue?
Hey, Paul, Quiz. They sent 5 copies to every country in the world. Therefore, it's a worldwide phenomenon.
Oh,
nice.
My God.
Let me grab a Streamlabs real quick, guys.
Sure.
Thank you, Fatty057. $2 for the hell of it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
The best of all reasons.
Woo.
Yeah.
Okay. The last thing I want to say on this is like, okay, why was Black Panther a phenomenon? Like, why did it do so well? Why are people talking about? Because it was an interesting film with interesting characters, and Chadwick Boseman, that's the star's name. He did a really good job. What? I mean, no, it's because all the actors were black and the director was black, and it's like, okay, fuck you, racist. No, the film was good. That's why it was good. Okay. Anyway, I mean, I'm sorry to dispel the mystery. People didn't go see it because, wow, a bunch of black people made this. Who could have thought that they could have made a film? Anyone who's not a racist, you bastard. What the fuck? Anyway.
I just find this whole thing very ableist.
Like, okay, Faithful said Black Panther was meh. Yeah, I mean, I tweeted out my list of the MCU films in their descending order from worst to best. Black Panther was in the middle somewhere. I didn't think it was the best of all films, but it certainly beat out a whole number of MCU films. So, yeah, I liked it just fine. My criticisms of it are largely around the really bad CGI and the fight scenes at the end. I know I bring that up a lot, but fuck, it really was bad. It looked like a 2005 video game from a subpar development firm. Anyway.
I threw a link in the side chat, Polly.
What's that?
I threw a link in the side chat.
For what?
An article.
Oh. Am I going to have to... Hold on. I'm going to stop sharing because I've got a feeling Jack just sent me porn. Is this porn?
No, it's amazing though.
Did you send me fucking Rule 34 lesbian porn?
No.
No, I put it in there before you started talking about this.
This is a callback to our
Chuck
previous
Wendig.
one.
Fuck off.
No, seriously.
Yeah, I
This
just
is
found
great.
that a minute ago. The last time my browser crashed, so
Look at this. Former
We're gonna have
Star
to
Wars
share with the
author
group.
Chuck Wendig attacks epic fantasy. Your world is too white, male, and straight. Look at the sneer of liberal anger.
I am so sorry Frodo wasn't banging Sam, Chuck. Is that what you wrote in your fan fiction? Is that what you wrote in your lemon?
No, we all know what
want?
happened. We saw the end of the movie where they spent 20 minutes giving each other the gaze. You see those longing looks? Those like 10 minutes of like, come hither, Samwise.
The gaze G-A-Z-E or the G-A-Y-S?
G-A-Z-E.
Okay. They're giving each other the gaze.
They could have been giving each other the other one too. I don't know what happens in the Shire. What happens in the Shire stays in the Shire.
So he tweeted out what? Loads unpopular opinion shotgun. So you didn't feel relevant enough, so wanted some internet PP touches and attention generally, so you shot out some bullshit, Chuck. Tried to read.
I'm very triggered by the word shotgun because he's loading a shotgun. That's very scary.
Here's the thing, okay? What he says right there, okay?
I didn't even read it yet.
Oh, I'll read it for you then.
Well, I was about to start reading. You cut me off.
Well, present it so people can say it.
Then go.
No, by all means.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, here's the thing. He says, tried to read Lord of the Rings a bunch, couldn't get through it. World building is not plot. Your book shouldn't read like an RPG manual, but should also make me wish someone made your book into an RPG. The Chosen One is a tired, narcissistic trope. Okay. He's not...
What is the Chosen One?
The trope is that one person, the main character of your book, is the chosen one to perform the task that gets the MacGuffin.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought he was referring to that as the title of something because it was all capped like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's the title. You know, it's anyway. He's not wrong. Okay, that's my biggest criticism for Lord of the Rings. I've actually read all of those books, and the biggest criticism I could have for it is that it doesn't read like a novel. It reads like a war journal, and not even like an actual war journal where, like, you know, you're saying I'm down in the trenches on this day and we're fighting where the fighting is it's most brutal. It's like we went here and did this, then we went here and did this, then we went here and did this. That's a very boring story. Okay, punctuated with a whole bunch of shit that no one really cares about, like Tom Bombadil. So he's not necessarily wrong. Okay, I'm waiting for the world is too white, straight, and male to come in, because that tweet ain't wrong.
Well, you know what? I completely agree. I have tried reading Lord of the Rings. I found it really boring, and because it's my taste that I don't like extreme amounts of excessive detail. From what I understand, that is what people do love about it, the world building he's referring to here. The excessive amount of world building, because it really transports you into this place, because I found it insane. So I don't even disagree with what he's saying here. Good for you. But
I do, because I don't like Chuck Wendig.
Well,
I don't like Chuck Wendig either, but it's like, you know, clocks are right twice a day. Broken clocks are right twice a day.
No, I mean,
I didn't think at any point reading Lords of the Ring was, my God, where are the gay black women? I was trying to like do the opposite of what he said here, and I was like, no, I just thought it was boring and overly detailed. But let's see when he gets into this.
Tolkien's style of writing is an older style that we don't use very much anymore, because it's, you know, written a while back. So it's how fantasy was written at that time. So if you look at a lot of like pulp books and stuff like that, even Elric of Melniboné, it has that same kind of like dry, little bit sterile sense that it's not quite the same literary style as we see now. And I think he just doesn't understand that.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think that's the era where things started to get more interesting, because they started to give characters like pathos, and they started actually developing a story and not like have an overarching theme.
Yeah.
That was indicative of like Conan and Elric. But anyway, like I said, that was not the tweet that we're going to disagree with. Let's continue here.
Yeah. Some are saying, but these are not unpopular opinions, and I'd posit that to some they are. They are what? You're a writer and you just ended a sentence in a preposition, and you started your next sentence with "and." Well done. And I shouldn't be commenting much. I don't write or read the genre very often, ? So I'm kind of trampling someone else's territory. But yet you went on. And while we're at it, with other opinions that I say about a genre I don't know nothing about, here are some more unpopular opinions about epic fantasy. The bigger the series, the likelier it is that it unspools into minutia and footnotes and chaos. Killing characters is a cheap way of building emotional effect. No, endlessly referencing straight white males in the comic genre for internet pee-pee touches is the cheap move. But, you know, hey, let's go on. I think it's less your assumption about that tweet and more talking to me like I don't both write books and don't work in the RPG industry for over a decade. I've read the thread making unpopular opinions. Come on, get to the point. Does he really say this? Like, or not? He doesn't reference anything to do about this. Where are you getting this from?
Not yet, at least. Yeah.
I read the thread. I was making a list of unpopular opinions about epic fantasy. One of those opinions was that I don't care much for Lords of the Rings. Christ, Nana, Kiki! It's not like I got fired for repeatedly shooting my mouth off on the internet. Why not keep it up? Wendig is a history of bizarre Twitter rants. He's called for violence against supporters of Donald Trump, called Star Wars fans white supremacists. He went on a profanity-laced rant about Star Wars fans claiming they come from a poisoned septic wellspring. Hold on. That's in quotations. So where are you getting it from, John Trent? I'm pressing X to doubt.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, is this indicative of now swinging in the opposite direction?
Yeah, this is not good. If you didn't say that and you quoted him, where are you getting it from?
Garbaged here? Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Here we are.
Did you skip it? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I rolled past it. He would continue adding, your world is too white and male and straight and ironically not fantastic enough. What happened in medieval England is not relevant in Imagica, the Dragonlands. I mean, even I, as a fan of the genre, can tell you why you need to go fuck yourself there, Chuck. It's thoroughly based in medieval England. You know it. I know it. Everyone who reads medieval literature knows it. Can you go from beyond that and write medieval something else, Fantasyland something else? Yes. But when you're dealing in the genre that Lords of the Rings is based, and especially Lords of the Rings proper, which you're referencing here, saying it's too based in medieval England, is like saying Star Trek is based too much in the future. Mm-hmm. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's literally about the future.
Hold on. I want to unpack this bit here. Okay. Feast scene. What the fuck is that even referencing? I don't get. But the world is too white, straight, male and straight. Ironically, not fantastic enough. Okay. Specifically in Lord of the Rings, you have a wizard fight a demon to the death where the wizard dies and is reborn and borne aloft on gigantic eagles. That is not fantastic enough. He needs to be a woman, gay, and black.
Yeah,
to be fantastic enough for you, Chuck.
Quiz.
Okay, hold on.
Quiz, the 50s were full of gays. You don't understand.
Well, okay. Does that mean then that gay, black, and women are fantastic in your world, Chuck?
Yes, they're magical creatures. You don't understand, Quiz.
People are alive. They exist, Chuck. That's not, it's not being fantastic to say that they must be part of the book or the whatever piece of fiction you're writing. Okay? Because trying to put that sort of minutia into stuff that actually does exist makes it more mundane, not fantastic. The fantastic comes from things that can't and don't possibly exist in our world.
No, what bothers me is that Tolkien assumed the pronouns of these characters. He didn't ask them first. And he didn't ask them how they identify.
I like Eve's response here. Name one gay black woman he wrote into a story. One.
Yeah,
Chuck.
I mean, maybe he likely did. I mean, Chuck shoots his mouth off a lot, does a lot of stupid shit. Maybe he did. I'm doubting it, but maybe. The thing, I just can't get over the idea. It's like you're talking about one, tropes, and two, that which is boring and easy go to. And yeah, I'm repeating myself, but fuck it. Chuck, you're on Twitter complaining about straight white males when you're a straight white male. You're the definition that is fully encompassing and personifying the smug, cocksucking liberal. Like you are it. You are the personification of it. What the fuck, buddy? And you're pissed off about tropes and easy go-to arguments, complaining on Twitter. Unpopular opinion, shotgun, watch out, squad goals. Like, fuck off.
Not only that, is that's not an unpopular opinion, Chuck.
No, it's not.
It's far from it. There's a lot of people that criticize Lord of the Rings for exactly that sort of thing. None of them also go on to say that it's too white, straight, and male.
Oh, yeah. Frosted Glass raises a really good point. Gandalf was reborn as Gandalf the White, obviously implying white supremacy.
Well, you know, at least Dumbledore is gay, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. He's looking at a book out of context through a modern lens. That book is, what, 70 years old now? And he's trying to establish a modern perspective on it that doesn't work that way.
But Tolkien was deliberately placing his characters in medieval England. That was the inspiration, kind of general launching ground for it. What are you complaining about? I don't, like I said, it's like,
that's my point.
Star Trek's in the future.
If he was doing that with England now, it would be way more Islamic and stabby. So,
and
disavow.
And Truckee.
I'm not wrong.
Here's the thing. I actually had a Minions about this a long time ago, because this is back when Tomb of Annihilation was just coming out for Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, there were a ton, and I mean an absolute fuck ton of people that were coming out of the woodwork decrying Wizards of the Coast. First of all, way to eat yourselves, because Wizards of the Coast are extremely social justice-y. That they were decrying Wizards of the Coast for perpetuating systems in which, you know, marginalized people were still marginalized and things like that. When, you know, the thing about it is I love it so much, because they always sit there and say things about black characters, gay characters, all these sorts of things in Dungeons and Dragons. You do realize that race, okay, is an actual thing in Dungeons and Dragons. And not in the same way that a lot of, you know, race realists would sit there and say for alt-writers. No. Race means human, dwarf, elf, all these sorts of things. So would anyone really care if a human is lighter pigmented than another human when a dwarf exists? When an elf exists? When an orc is trying to eat your face, who's going to be sitting there talking about, well, we need to have a black guy in our adventuring party?
Okay, hold on. Let's leave Chuck alone out of this. I do want to reference one article that I skipped over here on the Mary Sue, really quick. Kevin Feige explains a lack of love interest in Captain Marvel, even though Maria's right there. This author, in case you thought I was kidding about the shipping thing, this is hard.
Can be love stories as well.
Yeah, look at this. This is hard to navigate, because as much as I ship Carol and Maria,
go fuck yourself.
You guys are writing fanfic blogs and calling them articles. It's awful. It's awful.
This is the reason why we don't like your stories. Okay, not more than just like the fucking Mary Sue articles. These other stories that are written for, like, you know, America Chavez and Gay Iceman and stuff like that. This is the reason why, because they're all just fan fiction. You people are glorified fan fiction authors, and I don't need to tell you this. Go and watch Weebo Jones's channel. Fan fiction, no matter how good you think it is all awful. Stop it.
And it may sound like this is all over the place with, look, a gay Captain Marvel over here at CBR, this original article we went on into. It's like, you know, a gay Captain Marvel could be the yay, ship them, yay. Then over at Mary Sue, literally talking about, oh, as much as I ship them, it's okay that they're friends, but I would totally love it if they were more than friends. They keep pulling back from making it romantic. Like, this is a blog. This isn't even a news article. So then we go over here. God loves, sorry, Quiz, just keep calm, breathe, okay? God loves man kills Kwanzaa Osajefo on black and white. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Kwanzaa Osajefo, or Kwanzaa, as we've come to affectionately know him inside of comicsgate, is, I don't know, Jack, how would you describe it? He's a writer, I guess, would be the best way to say it.
Let's call him that. Yeah, in the loosest sense of the term.
Right. Okay. So he's a writer, and he crowdfunded his first comic called Black, and a couple of side issues called Black AF, Black as fuck. He's a very creative man, this guy. And they're all posited around the notion of, as he starts the article here, what if only black people had superpowers? That is his notion. His entire world is X-Men ripped off, where everyone's black because only black people in his world have superpowers. And what are the consequences, outcomes, and realities of dealing with that? Now, this man is, I'm just going to say it, he has all of the indications and earmarks of being an out-and-out racist, this guy. He thinly veiled, can never shut the fuck up about Trump. Everybody's a white supremacist and a white nationalist. He's a race hustler, as he often gets called. Can never let any issue go without making the racial angle of it the foremost important thing. Whether it's there or not, he'll find it. So over on Bleeding Pool, possibly the shilliest of all of the shill sites, like I said, it's a fantastic week in shill-ery. Rich Johnson, the founder, not editor anymore, but still writer for Bleeding Cool, let Kwanzaa Osajefo write his own shill article on his website for the sequel to Black, which he creatively called White. It's thinly veiled, again, Trump allegory, where a white nationalist rises to power and becomes president of the United States. And I kid you not, his name is Man, M-A-N-N. He's President Man. So he's literally the man. This guy, he's so clever. Yeah. He goes into this article, and I won't pain you with listening to all of it, but the first paragraph is highly instructive to how he thinks of himself. By paralleling superhero tropes with real world issues, it's the tagline that launched a graphic novel I wrote into the public consciousness. Come on, chat. How many of you have even ever heard of this guy?
Well, if you watch Diversity in Comics, you know, this wouldn't be or us. It wouldn't be.
Well, we know of him, but like it's like I said, chat. How many of you have even heard of this guy? Because he launched this idea into the public consciousness.
Frosted Glasgow's Black Africa McNegro Black returns.
Yes, through that lens, Black brought attention to the dearth of African-American representation in comic books creative process, and therefore their content. Right. You're the only one who ever talked about that. It's just you, Kwanzaa. No one else has ever thought to do that.
Wait, does he not know about the initiatives that DC and Marvel put together back in the
I think he's aware of them, but that doesn't stop him crediting himself for his small run crowd-funded comic book as having launched this into the popular consciousness. He's not going to not take that credit.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Where we were not absent in the culture. No, not the culture, but comic book culture. Well, the term blurred has recently entered the geek lexicon. Hold on.
Not recent. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, this chat. How many of you ever heard of a blurred, a black nerd? Have you even heard that term before? Or is this guy... I've heard it before, but I'm steeped in this stuff. I mean, I spend far too much time for my own mental health absorbed in this stuff.
Sky Williams talks about being a blurred. It's far from new.
Yeah, Grisella asked Kwanzaa, isn't that on the calendar sometime in December? Yeah, his parents literally named him after a made-up holiday. It's true. He is at best, black nerds can enjoy allegories of social injustice alongside the rest of geekdom, reading the adventures of persecuted costume heroes that, for the most part, take off their masks to live as abnormally beautiful white people. Like, dude, you're so fucking racist. You're so fucking racist.
Because Clark Kent was not completely socially, ostracized.
It's great. So anyway, look, white, there's the whole thing. And yeah, you know what? This is, by the way, the chance, like I said, that he's been given to write his own shill for his own crowdfunded comic book. That's what he's doing here, is trying to get you to buy his comic book. He talks about how awesome he is and how awesome he is and how awesome he is. And then it's like, what an old hill for these supposedly real comic fans to come and die on, like meaning comicsgate and et cetera, et cetera. It keeps going down. Longtime fans of comic book readers and hardcore X-Men fans regard
Chris Claremont and Brent Anderson's God Loves, Man Kills as not only the defining moment for the writer's career, but also for the format of comics, and in particular, a cornerstone of the X-Men mythos. To that end, I won't recite the entire premise of the book. You have comic shops, Comixology, and Google for that. It's recommended reading for any real fan. Instead, I'll just focus on the catalyst of the story, which is 2 black mutant children. Wait a minute. It seems like some writer years and years and years before you was on this, namely Chris Claremont, somebody who's far more talented than you. Are you going to talk about your fucking comic, buddy? 2/3 of the way down, he actually starts fucking talking about it. That's how full of himself this fucking guy is. And of course, you brought up Huey P. Newton, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, etc. Like, this guy is just the worst kind of race hustler. And of course, he brought up, as Stan Lee said, the world outside our window. I don't know what the fuck world you live in, Kwanzaa, but I don't want to live there. All right. So how's he doing anyway? $39,800. Oh, Jesus. He almost broke 40, dude. See that? It scrolled up. That was awesome.
$7 away.
Yeah. $8.
$8. No, it's $39,999. It's not 40.
For the goal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So in any case, this guy will do half for white of what he did for black. I challenge you to go type on to Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever the fuck search engine you use, and look up Kwanzaa Osejefo. There's his name right there. And just look at all the news stories that this guy's published in the Hollywood Reporter. He's published in recent articles talking about his new comic White in Hollywood Reporter, in CBR, his own article that he himself was allowed to write and ended up connecting himself to a far more popular God Loves, Man Kills edition of X-Men years and years ago. Doesn't even end up shilling his own article to 2/3 of the way through it until he's done talking about how awesome he is. Over and over again, this guy has had an explosion of press coverage, and he can still only reach $40,000. Half of what he did on the previous edition. That's how little people give a fuck about this guy. But yet, every comic fan has to read about him constantly. Why? Because CBR and comicbook.com and everybody else who claims to be reporting on the comic book industry act like this failed Kickstarter is somehow the central thing to grab attention to. How much attention did any one of those give the largest crowdfunded comic book of all time? Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog. Yeah. In its first Kickstarter Indiegogo campaign, pulling in $650,000. Richard Myers with Jawbreakers, or the second one that he did, Iron Sights. Both of those dramatically went over their goal. Did they cover them? No. They covered them insofar as to call those guys racist, all white nationalists, and their stories had nothing to do with race. Nothing to do with race or politics at all. One of them is about a cybertronic frog who's going to save the world from attacking interspatial bees.
It was aliens coming down and invading Earth, and like every human is an endangered species. Doesn't matter what race you are.
Yeah, they don't touch on race or politics or anything of that sort. And look at the sales that they've got. This guy talks about race all day in this hackneyed bullshit X-Men ripoff way. And it's like he's going to reach his $40,000 goal because it's got 3 more days. There's no question. He'll beat that. But to the tune of half of what it did before, with me as a comic books fan going from article to article, having to endlessly read about this guy like his racism actually fucking matters to anyone other than these shill journalists writing these articles.
Yeah. Black Romeo said, Black is not a good story. The idea that black people who had superpowers allowed themselves to be enslaved is stupidly bad.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that. How is it that slavery would have ever happened with superpowers? It's not something, and lots of other channels, I mean, Diversity in Comics, Richard C. Mario Boy Zach talked about it a couple times and came up with 3 or 4 story pitch ideas where it could be addressed quite easily inside of the comic book world. But Kwanzaa, being a really poor writer, just ended up saying, no, it's fine, makes sense. You don't understand how racism works. And therefore, shut up. In other words, was his response. It's like, no, you can handle it in a couple of sentences, actually. Like, the powers only came out recently. They weren't around in the time of slavery. There's a way of solving it.
They're rare.
They're ultra rare. There's a 20 different ways we could brainstorm off the top of our head and explain how it would be consistent. Kwanzaa has to take everything that comes at him as either a racist attack or an opportunity to talk about racism. So he takes that criticism as a racist attack.
Yeah, say Functional says, how does slavery happen with superpowers? Have they never read X-Men? Genosha, hello. Yeah, I mean, Extinction Agenda was a thing. And that was when Rogue had Captain Marvel's powers. Callback.
I think the problem is that he's just in it for the money is how it looks. Because he's not putting a lot of effort or thought into this. It just looks like a cash grab.
I think he's just trying to keep it going. And I'm sorry, I got to say, I agree with your boy, Zach. This guy's just a class A race hustler. His hustle, his shtick is race all day long. So what's he going to do? Suddenly not write about it? What the fuck would he write about?
Well, it sounds like he's got something in the works with getting a movie made of the first miniseries, but the serious, they got optioned or something. But the title Black is not catchy enough. You know, it's just a word. You can't trademark the word black. Right. That's why he came up with Black AF. And he did a couple mini-series spin-offs or whatever. And he's trying to build the universe up a little bit, probably to try and get more franchise deals, either TV or movies or whatever. So it just feeds into the race hustling aspect. The guy just seems to be in it for the money. And I legitimately think he doesn't like white people very much.
It certainly comes across that way. Holy fuck. So any thoughts on God Loves Man Kills there, Chris? I know you love that story. I mean, you pitched it previously.
He doesn't have any right to compare himself to Chris Claremont's seminal work. It's that book is amazing. There's nothing that I have seen that Kwanzaa has written that I would put even remotely in the same ballpark as the worst thing that Chris Claremont has written. But whatever happened to the fact that everyone could agree that judging anyone based on just what color their of skin that they have is bad? Whatever happened to that notion?
It died with Martin Luther King, apparently.
Apparently, it doesn't make any sense to me when someone like Kwanzaa can say these sorts of things about white people, or even Chuck Wendig, even if he is white, I don't give a shit. Just say these things about white people, but you can't say things about black people. It makes no sense. All of it is wrong. All of it.
I would agree. Yeah. I've kind of gotten past the idea that the world's fair and you should expect people to play by consistent rules. No, you shouldn't, because the world isn't fair. What kills me is that people aren't sick of it yet, because it's been going on for a number of years. Like, social media is absolutely dominated with endless material about, oh yeah, you know, white people are and all this stuff. And it's like, are you just bored of hearing that? Because I know I'm bored of hearing it on comic book websites alone.
Yeah. I would say that the worst part about it is that, like, even when people are pointed out, you know, even when their hypocrisy is pointed out, they double, triple down and then ignore the criticism, and then they keep getting clout because of it. I just, when do people start paying attention to these things?
Yeah.
If that's the case, why is Kwanzaa making almost $40,000 for this?
Oh, well, I mean, everyone's going to have their hanger-ons on Twitter. Everyone's got a core group, but apparently, I mean, 1,200 people. Go take a look at, like, that's a really small group of people to have produced 40 grand around. And it'll be more in the next 3 days, because there's that many more days to go. But you take a look at, like, what else is comparable in the world of crowdfunded comics, with none of the promotion that this guy has managed for himself. Yeah. And it's like, it's not even middling. It's beneath middling in terms of success.
No. If you break down the math there, it's averaging around $33 per donor. Cyberfrog, I think the minimum donation to get a physical copy of the book was $35.
Right. I think if anyone in the audience is thinking of backing this project for the hilarity factor, my advice would be just to wait and get Jim Helis's Blue Mamba 2 when it comes out, or somebody else's book that you might actually enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, there's a good example. I mean, Jim's not going to enjoy any of the rabid promotion that this guy is pulling in, yet it's got an LGBT character in it as the protagonist, actually. But it's not signaling the right things. Kwanzaa, everybody talks about the amount of contacts that he has, and he clearly does have a lot of great media contacts because he's able to get these endless shill articles written about him. He's able to write his own shill articles over at Bleeding Cool.
Well, I think that's the only reason it got this high.
Yeah, but I mean, to the tune of half of what the previous one was able to do. Ouch.
Yeah.
That's like, even with that, like I said, just Google this guy's name and see how many different websites are printing and reprinting interviews with him, printing his tweets, calling them exclusive reports, etc. Looking at you, CBR, talking about things that are boring and never seem to die. Chris Evans says Marvel supports his anti-Trump tweets. All right. I'm going to start this out by saying, you guys, anyone who's listened to the stream before have heard me say I'm a big fan of the way Chris Evans plays Steve Rogers. I love the way Steve Rogers is presented in the movies. Big fan. But the one thing you've never seen, unlike, Captain Marvel, is Chris Evans attempting to connect the films to his personal political opinions. At least I've never noticed it. I don't follow Chris Evans on Twitter, even though people have repeatedly told me, it's like, yeah, man, that guy's like a super progressive, and he's like saying, like, fuck Republicans, fuck Trump, fuck, all, he's very, very progressive. And it's like, yeah, that's why I don't follow him. I don't really care. Like I said, I care about his portrayals of characters on screen. If people want to talk about an issue here at all, it's why are people listening to the political opinions of actors writ large? Not Chris Evans, but any actor. Why do you care what Bruce Willis thinks? Why do you care what Samuel L. Jackson, the Scientologist, thinks about this or that? The fuck do you care? I want to hear about their craft. I want to hear about if they're interested in writing or something like that. I don't want to hear about your thoughts about the fucking world. The fuck do you know about it?
Hey, we've got a comic book curation exclusive right now. Peter said this comment is an exclusive. We need to spend 4 pages writing an article about it. Thank you, Peter, for that exclusive report.
Well, say Nat, you also have a new tag to put in.
Yeah, exclusive.
Yeah, I will put that, because we talked about it, and it's true. We actually do have an exclusive by CBR standards. Why did they call this one an exclusive? Oh, I know why they didn't. If they're not exclusively quoting another article, it's written by them only at CBR, then they call it an exclusive. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Maybe.
Because that leads into something here. It's like Chris Evans says that Marvel supports his anti-Trump tweets. This is what this entire article is about, right? It's and where are you getting this from? Who says that? In an interview with the Hollywood Reporter. Okay, so what the fuck am I doing here? You guys can go to hell, because again, this is the week in shill-ery here on Comic Book Curation. This is what I refer to as a shill article. It's not shilling a given ware or item that somebody might want to buy. It's shilling a political ideal, which is what half of these garbage tier fucks end up doing, it seems. Because it's like, oh, Chris Evans says fuck Trump, and we say fuck Trump, so let's write an article about fuck Trump. When really, you pulled the whole thing from the Hollywood Reporter over here. So let's go take a look at it. I can't get over this picture. I was talking to Jack about this. This article is like, do you love Chris Evans? Do you have posters of him in your room? Are you a 14-year-old girl? You're going to love this article.
Hey, man, like, he has deep thoughts. Look at him. He's being self-reflective. Literally, in the photo, there's a reflection of him.
Yo, dog, we heard you like Chris Evans, so we put Chris Evans in your Chris Evans, and your Chris Evans is in your Chris Evans, and so on.
Even Chris Evans loves him some Chris Evans.
Like, this reads like it was written by his, like, Chris Evans' own PR agent. You know what I mean? And the picture, the photography session was directed by his PR agent. And then it occurred to me, it's the Hollywood Reporter. And that's kind of what they do, function as PR agents for Hollywood generally. The political Avenger, Chris Evans, takes on Trump, Tom Brady, anxiety, and those retirement rumors. Does he really take any of these things on? No, this is called clickbait to get you to fucking read. So it's just like, guess what? They all have to write about Avengers Endgame. And if we're going to sit down and talk with Chris Evans, which is, he's a big Hollywood star, well paid, You want me to sit down with you? You better be writing a hyper positive article for me. And that explains the tone of the whole thing. If you want to go read it, you can, but it's just like, holy fuck. Like, look at the pictures. It's like, I'm deep. I think about things. My beard is well trimmed. And it is very well trimmed. I'll give him that. It is an extremely well-groomed beard. Look, he's thinking deep. He's looking over his shoulder. Doesn't know what to do because the world's such a confusing place, but he's trying to get through it.
Well, no, that's him tearing down the wall right there.
I have to say, man, I hate this the most out of all of these sorts of things. I didn't vote for Trump. I don't like Trump. I hate having to defend my ability to say that I don't like Trump because of people that are just losing their goddamn fucking minds about Trump. What? Okay, Chris Evans, I want to know this. I want to know this earnestly. Okay, I want to know this. What has Trump done that has affected you personally? If you can answer that, all is forgiven.
So, look, this giant picture of him with Jessica Biel, right? Why do you have an... Okay, oh yeah, by the way, Diversity in Comics said something like in a video a while ago, made me laugh. So, Chris Evans' hairline is fake news. And then went on with what he was talking about. I'm like, why did you just blurt that out of nowhere? It's because Richard Meyer is really sensitive about his hairline. He brings it up a lot. To call someone's hairline fake news just kills me. Because if you look at his hairline, right, he's got like the male pattern baldness working here in a widow's peak. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then when you see him here, what happened to your hairline?
Plugs, Polly. Plugs.
Well, of course, he got plugs, is what happened.
Because he is rich enough to be able to afford plugs.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like he spent the extra money and got the Shatner Turbo 2000 from 2001.
Look at that hairline. Oh yeah, I love brushing across my perfect.
See, he's holding it in place in that picture.
So anyway, why is Jessica Biel even in this? Like, what has this got to do with anything? Well, it's because this is him in 2001, obviously, like a number of years ago. It references where is it? I read through this article and it was painful. I read through it so you don't have to. Oh yeah, he keeps it closer to the vest, talking about other people. He mentions in passing that Justin Timberlake lives around here, I think, without mentioning that Timberlake lives around here with his wife, Jessica Biel, who was once Evan's girlfriend. And there, I'm going to throw a picture of Jessica Biel.
Care. Oh my God, I don't care.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this article is, look at this. Are you in love with Chris Evans? Do you want to know everything about him? Are you like totally fascinated by everything he thinks, says, and does, or is everything thought or done?
Burn down the ivory towers. I don't care. I don't fucking care.
Like, I'll say it again, dude. I love the way you play Steve Rogers, but that's where it ends, man. You know what I mean? I don't care what you have to say about Trump. Why does anyone care what you say? Anyway,
they don't.
Just dance like your fucking monkey and get on with your life. No one should care this much about someone they don't personally know. I don't know you, Chris Evans. I don't want to know you. Okay, I don't.
Evans even campaigned for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Oh, he knows how to pick the winners.
Why are I 50 points ahead right now?
What the fuck? Why? Why does this happen?
So anyway, I forget where he says it in here, because if we go back over here, I mean, notice how I have to scroll up and down to find that. It all comes out of one paragraph where he talks about Kevin Feige, talking about him. Over here at CBR, the home of exclusive shill-ery, Chris Evans says Marvel supports his anti-Trump tweets. They turned this into a whole fucking article. That one little paragraph that they cut into separate sentences and quote it throughout here. It's mind-blowing. When I bump into Kevin Feige, the first thing out of his mouth is, man, I love what you're doing on Twitter. That he doesn't care. Like, no one's told him to stop doing what he's doing on Twitter. And that is Marvel supports his anti-Trump tweets.
Well, of course. Like, well, I mean, if you've read a comic book, you know that Marvel doesn't give a damn about politics.
Yeah, and Kevin Feige is definitely mired in the social justice bullshit too.
Yeah, he is. It's just like, again, it's just what is all this stuff talking about? And it's like, so you
And
get,
who cares?
like Tom Brady down here, right? It says, I don't know. He says, talking about Evans. I really hope he's not a Trump supporter. I'm just hoping he's one of those guys who maybe supported him and now regrets it. Maybe he thought it was going to be different. And even that bothers me. But maybe there's a chance now that he just thinks Trump is an absolute dipshit, dumb shit, which he is. If he doesn't, if he's still on that Trump train, I might have to cut ties. It's really tough.
You know what he's talking about right here is he was up for a role to play Tom Brady in a movie.
Is that really? Is that why?
Yeah. And he might back out because Brady's a Trump supporter. He's specifically choosing a role based on politics.
Like, dude, get over it. I love this statement. He says, I think maybe a couple of years ago, he continues, I might have been able to pull some like mental gymnastics to compartmentalize, but I don't know if I can anymore. I'm just hoping he's woken up. The mental gymnastics, you've already done mental gymnastics to make you think that it's perfectly okay on a political basis to be that far. I've lost words. I don't even know what to say. Like, dude, you're in a mental gymnastics place right now.
To further this out again and to reiterate, I don't care. Let him not choose the role. Is that going to affect his 7-digit fucking bank account? I don't give a shit about what a millionaire chooses what to and not to do with his time. He has enough money that it doesn't matter what happens to the rest of the goddamn fucking world. I don't care.
I'm glad we covered this article just because it made Quiz spurg out a little bit. That always amuses me.
I thought it was the God loves man kills thing that would have flipped him out. But oh yeah, here it is right here. But when I have a chance to play Brady in a biopic, I would bring him out of non-retirement. He looks grim. Like, his willingness to call bullshit on anyone abetting the disintegration of our republic extends to his home state's favorite son. Like, abetting the disintegration of our republic. This must have been written before the Mueller report came out.
Shady Grin wants you to stop yelling because you're scaring the children.
I love that for the Hollywood Reporter, abetting the disintegration of our republic. Like, fuck off, jackasses. You people are just so off into the land of hyperbole. You don't even know when you're doing it anymore. I seriously. Okay,
and far be it from me to give such sympathy to a millionaire. Oh my God, poor Chris Evans. He's so downtrodden. He's living in such a horrible state with Trump being the president.
Quiz.
Oh my God.
You don't understand. He's oppressed by Trump, and he is leading the resistance. He is rising up against the man and the bourgeoisie.
I have to care so much about what a millionaire thinks. Man.
All right. Okay, hold on. Jesus.
I hate these people. I hate them with every fiber of my fucking being.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So we have one. I was wondering if there were any more pictures of him posing like in this way. Like, look, you get the infinite mirror thing too. Are there any more? Tell me there's more pictures. Oh, here he is hanging out, being well. Okay.
How much?
There he is. Oh yeah, he played Johnny Storm. That's right. There he is.
How much you want to bet he's got a room full of mirrors at home where he just admires himself and does these little poses?
There's a nice picture of his fake hairline, by the way. But look at him looking somberly off, contemplating the disintegration of the republic as he stares at the sunset, wondering what the future holds for America with a tyrant in charge. What's he gonna do? Especially with this $4,000 designer sweater I've got on. Life's hard.
How much you want to bet? Instead of yelling, I am Spartacus, he yells, I am Steve Rogers.
Whoa, buddy. Calm down with the teeth whitener. You got some glowing phosphorus there, buddy. This is him smiling.
Chris Evans, if you really cared about cared about people that are downtrodden, you could sell like some of your wardrobe there, pay off my student loan.
Right?
If you really cared, your several multi-million dollars that you've made in the MCU, yeah, fucking that would put me on a fast track to never needing to worry about my paycheck to paycheck rent ever again. But
short,
no,
eat the
it's
rich.
Trump that you need to worry about. Oh yeah, sorry,
right,
millionaire.
all right.
It's so hard for you. Oh my God, I hate these people. I hate them so much.
Okay. Quiz needs a minute to calm down. So what we're going to do is go over here to an article that'll keep him real calm. Gwenpool, unpacking the weird Marvel experiment that can't stop, won't stop. You're going to have to unmute yourself, Quiz. I can't do it for you.
He's still screaming, I think.
Oh, okay. Actually, I can't unmute you. You have to do it for yourself now. This is another CBR exclusive. Shocking, I know. The weekend shill-ery continues, and this is the last one we're going to touch on here before we go on to pitches. Look, in short, this is a character nobody cares about. If you don't know, Gwen Stacy is a character early on from Spider-Man's life. She died. It was basically the Green Goblin that was responsible for killing her. And yeah, as a joke cover, they did Gwen as Deadpool. And they decided, because of one person in the form of Heather Ontos, a then associate editor at Marvel, to, I totally want to make a character that's just like you, Heather. You're awesome. We're going to make you Gwenpool. And they've reintroduced her again and again and again, and nobody cares about her. Nobody finds this character interesting. Nobody buys comics from her. No comic she's ever been in has been terribly successful or even shipped large numbers, but yet they still keep bringing her back again and again. Does anybody have an idea? Either one of you guys have an idea why they won't let this character go? I get why they won't let Kamala Khan go or Captain Marvel, but why Gwenpool?
There's a thing there that says, why is Gwenpool so popular?
Well, you know what?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I really do.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that, because I've got a meme about that. I scrolled back up because I didn't. You jumped ahead of my joke, but that's fine. That's fine. Hold on. When I read that, you know what I flashed back to? Is it a Simpsons reference? Either one of you know what I'm thinking about?
No.
What?
Damn it. I don't know if I'd have to go look into Lost into one of my folders here. I grabbed a GIF. It was when Lisa Simpson was handed a card during Mr. Burns' run for Congress, and his PR agent came up and handed her a card of the question to read to him during dinner when the camera crews were there filming. And, and the question was, Mr. Burns, your campaign seems to have the popularity of a runaway freight train. Why do people love you so much? And it's like, yeah. That's what jumped into mind. It's like, what makes Gwenpool so popular? Nothing.
Well, hold on. The one thing I've got to bring up here. Eve said, except it did stop, didn't it? Well, if you go to her Wikipedia page, you can see that there are 5 volumes of Gwenpool. It stopped 5 times.
Yeah, and restarted.
Can't stop, won't stop. It stopped 5 times.
Yeah, and they just won't let it die. Proud of the character and a fan herself, Ontos would regularly take questions on Twitter in character as Gwenpool from fans, changing her name and picture accordingly, which would help them inform the comic series. She pretended to be Gwenpool on Twitter because
kill me.
Like,
I don't want to live on this earth anymore.
The editor, who in my opinion had a huge crush on her, and that was the running rumor at the time. It's like, did your office husband make this character just to like flirt with you? Because it kind of seems that way. It's like he created like a Mary Sue, literally a Mary Sue character, and this is you, Heather Ontos. Now you can pretend to be her on Twitter. And she literally went and did it. What the fuck? And now they won't let the character die because I don't know.
It's fine. I would rather die. It's fine.
It's just like, well, you have Deadpool is too penisy. He has a penis, and that's like, no, can't have that. So let's just like remake her as a woman in pink. There we go. There. Now we've done the proper gender swap. Now we can promote this character to the never-ending bowels of hell.
And
you wonder why you're failing, Marvel. I wish I knew where I put that GIF. That bugs me. I grabbed it specifically.
You broke quiz. You already broke quiz.
Yeah.
Inquisitor 8.1 Screaming Edition.
Well, we won't cause his blood to boil anymore. Like I said, that is it for the week in shill-ery, although I am certain we could have found a bunch of... Oh,
Well,
yeah, by the way...
I do have one if you want, just a...
Well, I don't know.
One.
I'm worried about your blood pressure quiz.
No,
I just wanted to point one quick thing out. What is this article about? What has it got to do with anything? Nothing. It's just saying, let's brag on the character. Why?
And
is there a new series starting? Is there anything? No, it's just...
Let's glom onto Gwenpool, and I hope everyone likes her as much as we do.
Yeah, but it's
a
an
CBR
exclusive. Like,
exclusive.
what is this? What are you just filling space? Get up from behind your computer. Go ask somebody some questions. Interview Heather Ontos. It's her avatar in the Marvel world. Anyways.
Frosted Glass says, whoa. The important thing here is, what does Chris Evans think of this? I
think seriously, I'm not even trying to hate on Chris Evans that much. I really dig the way you play Steve Rogers, man. You're my favorite Marvel MCU character. But what makes you think people care about you and your political opinions or what you think of Tom Brady, man?
There's a level, okay, that never needs to cross, that never needs to be crossed, okay? The fan interactions with the person that's with an actor, right? That should be the fan appreciates the actor portraying the character. That is where it should end.
Right.
And the actor should appreciate the fan for appreciating their work. And that is where the interaction should end. Okay? We're not your friends, Chris. We're not friends. All right? I don't need to know about how much you dislike Trump. No one does.
People tweet about how they don't like Trump, like people that don't have a lot of Hollywood notoriety or whatever. People tweet that they like Trump a lot. MAGA people, okay. What bugs me is people who, let's do this Hollywood Reporter article and present this guy as this deep thinking individual with his fake hair staring at the sunset, and let's ask him what he thinks about Trump. Look, that whole shit just bugs me, man. And I'm not trying to convince anybody else. I'm just saying, good God, that shit gets on my nerves. It's all frosting and no cake. It's all presentation and no substance, And
I would be saying the same goddamn thing if it were someone that were pro-Trump. I don't give a shit. Say your lines, dance for the camera, go the fuck home, and shut up. Everyone needs to have that credos in their life, right? And everyone needs to follow that, because no one needs to know that much about any other person unless you are personally connected to them. Okay, I don't need to know that much about any celebrity, period. I don't care. I don't know them in real life. Who the fuck needs to know that kind of thing? Who the fuck cares?
Well, James Cawley says he liked Gwenpool, so there you go. I have no doubt that there's few and far in between fans, but it's like I really like Rachel Summers as a character, as I've talked about. She doesn't get nearly that play, nearly that focus. She's constantly misused, in my opinion, by writers. It's what bugs me, James, is the focus upon the pet projects of people who aren't even writers. They're just editors. Like Anna Samanat. You will never see an end to Kamala Khan. You'll never see an end to Miss Marvel because that is her personal pet project.
Jack, I'm glad you caught it too.
What?
You just had a dyslexic moment there, Polly.
What?
You said Anna Samanat. It's Sana Amanat.
I was able to hold it together until Quiz started laughing.
I love it.
On that note, why don't we pitch some comics, gentlemen?
Well, before that, real quick, I just want to point this out for those interested, and I'm not going to get into it, I guess, this one because we've already gone too long. But I saw Shazam in the early screening. I'll suffice it to say this: it was great. Absolutely go see it. It's hands down probably one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. Easily outpaces all of the Marvel movies, in my opinion. Even Captain America First Avenger, which I really liked. Even Thor, which I really liked. It could probably give Avengers a run for its money. But yes, absolutely go see Shazam. It deserves all of the praise that it gets and more. I would love to see this movie breach the $1 billion mark, which a lot of projections don't plan on it breaking, even though Aquaman did, which, you know, let's be fair, Shazam is definitely a more, I guess, in the comic circle, more well-known and more appreciated than Aquaman. But I brought this up because I found this on Screen Rant. The same screening that I went to go and see is what they're referencing here. DC's Shazam outgrosses Aquaman in sneak peek screenings. So Aquaman also had an early showing, just like Shazam, but Shazam earned $3.3 million in 1 day with only 2 showings, with 2 times showing.
Wow.
So yeah, I think it'll do well. I think it looks good. I think it definitely has people interested in seeing it. So absolutely give this movie your support. I highly recommend Shazam. I think you'll have a great time seeing it. Absolutely check it out.
Cool. I was going to check it out anyway. Now I'm definitely interested. That's sweet. And Quiz got into his early showing because it was at a theater it was a limited release sneak preview showing for 1 day only. Is that right?
Yeah, it was only at 4:00 and 7:00.
Yeah. And I did go end up looking after you talked about it, and it wasn't doing it at a theater near me. So
that sucks.
Yeah, but I'm going to go see it. So yeah, it's all good.
I'd say Mule said that he went and saw it with his daughter. So yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because, God damn it, it looks fun and there's no politics associated with it, which is, of course, particularly interesting to me.
Oh yeah. I'll say this: there was a social justicey thing in it, but unlike Wonder Woman, it was played off as a joke and it was funny. So there you go.
All right, it's on to pitches, and we're all running long, so let's do them quick, gentlemen. Who wants to go first? I can go first. I'm ready. It's up to you.
I don't care.
Go for it.
All right, I will. Put in the comic and screen share. Come on, Chrome. Don't fail me now. There we go. My pitch is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Return to New York, 3-issue story arc. It begins in book 19, and then, of course, 20 and 21.
Eastman Laird, too. Yeah.
Yeah, this is back in the day Turtles, man.
Yeah.
This is drawn by, I've never known how to say this guy's name, Eric Talbot or Eric Talbot. It's Talbot. Talbot. He guest penciled for Turtles a lot back in the day, and he ended up making the Turtles look like this. Still black and white comic at this time. So it's all about the shading and the hatch work that really brings it to life. Look at the fucking detail. It's mind-blowing. This story starts, I pitched before at Christmas time, the Leonardo 1-issue micro series. Basically, Leonardo gets in a fight with a bunch of foot soldiers and kills a whole bunch of them, but ends up getting severely beaten within an inch of his life. And ultimately, that's caused by Shredder. The Splinter is their master, their sensei, and he has this long honor battle with the Rokusaki, the Shredder. And Leonardo ends up facing off against him and gets really, really badly injured. This story, they have left New York. They're hiding out in a far-off cabin in the woods, healing, recuperating, and figuring out when they're going to go back. This story starts off with them. Here they are in their cabin. And Raphael's there, and he's like, I can't stand it anymore. I said, I can't stand it anymore. And he jumps out. Are you deaf? This place is driving me crazy. Don't you understand? And it's like, oh God, here we go again. Raphael's going crazy in hiding. They've been there for months and months and months. Leo has long since healed. He's fine. So why haven't they gone back? And it's Ralph gets into this thing where he's like, it's because Leo's scared. Leo's lost it. He's scared. He can no longer lead us. What? Is Leo standing right there listening? I love this era of the Turtles. If you go back and read it, this stuff's available for purchase. It's absolutely available for used editions. This 3-part story arc, Return to New York, is fucking fantastic. Not only is it Talbot's art,
which just really brings the turtles to life in this great way. It's a lot of the mythos of the turtles is explained in this 3-parter. Anyway, Raphael and Leonardo end up getting in a fight between them, and they have a lot of stuff out that's been building for months. Ends up just great action sequences. Leo's about to kill him, but he forgets that the sword that he has is wooden, not metal. It's a good thing for Ralph that, yeah, he didn't have a metal sword or he'd be dead. He ends up picking up Leo and throwing him through the wall. In any case, Ralph decides on his own, fuck it, I'm going back to New York and I'm going to face off the Foot by myself. The next 2-part story arc is what happens when Ralph faces off against the Foot Clan and Orokusaki the Shredder by himself. The 3 turtles remaining, Mike, Don, and Leo, come after him. I don't want to ruin anything more than that. Even explain what happened to Ralph by the time he got to New York will kind of spoil a lot of stuff. But yeah, he does leave on his own and heads back because he can't live with the dishonor of hiding out in the cabin while they just live fearfully. This is only a little bit of the way through issue 1, and all this stuff has happened, and they've laid out all this story. I don't want to flip any further. It'll be spoiler territory what happens when he faces off against the Foot, and when Shredder shows up, what happens, and the things that are revealed. It's fascinating, great old school turtles. If you want to know about the turtles before they were Cowabunga Dude style turtles, loving pizza in the sewers, when it was all deadly serious about their honor and their fight with the Foot, you cannot do any better in the 3-part story arc. Return to New York from issues 19 to 21 of the original Eastman and Laird's TMNT from Mirage Studios. By all means, I thoroughly encourage you to check it out.
Yeah. Eastman and Laird wrote great Turtles comics. They were absolutely great back in the day.
Yeah. So, who feels like going next?
Well, I'll go. Let's see here. Mine is written by Max Landis, illustrated by Joel Jones, colorist by Rico Renzi, cover artist Ryan Suk, and Jones and Renzi as variant cover artists. Oh, wait, am I muted? No, I'm not. Okay.
No, I'm listening.
It looked like it did on the Hangouts, but anyway, my pitch is specifically issue 3 of American Alien, Superman, American Alien. Now, I showed these guys this cover before the stream started without the Superman, American Alien at the top here, and said, "Who do you think that is?" And Jack immediately piped in and said, "Bruce Wayne."
Polly got that.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was you. But anyway,
I don't know.
yeah. You
Stealing my credit.
Said Bruce Wayne, right? Well, apparently it comes down to this. Clark Kent won a summer vacation in the Caribbean. And he's flying there in this this one, prop plane, and it goes down. Right?
Okay.
But it's perfectly fine because he's fucking Superman, right?
Sure.
He's old enough now. I mean, he's in college, so he's old enough that the impact from the plane's not gonna fucking kill him, and he's got superpowers. So he just saves the pilot, gets out of the water, and there's a yacht. That's serendipitous. So he goes up on the yacht, and everyone says happy birthday. What? Well, apparently this yacht is for Bruce Wayne. And all of these beautiful people, socialites and stuff like that, are all there to wish Bruce Wayne a happy birthday. Well, including right here, this is Oliver Queen. But it's not Bruce Wayne. That's Clark Kent. But everyone thinks that Clark Kent is Bruce Wayne. So, Clark Kent is... he's just straight out of Smallville. He's going to college. He's trying to experiment a little bit more in his life. And he gets tossed this like silver platter to him where he gets to play a rich billionaire socialite for a day, right? And so he fucking plays it up. I'm Bruce Wayne. He's riding around on a jet ski. He's mixing martinis. Wow, Bruce Wayne's friggin' awesome. But the best part about this, like, you know, he has this really deep conversation with this woman. He meets her. They fall for a you know, momentary sort of spring break sort of fling. They sleep together. It's all nice, and you know, everything. And then he takes some drugs, and he's tripping a little bit, and he wanders further into the yacht, and then boom, Deathstroke. Carmine Falcone sends his regards. And so Deathstroke thinks he's going to be fucking slashing up Bruce Wayne. But it's Clark Kent, so his sword just seems to clatter off of him, and nothing seems to be happening. And his shirt gets all shredded. And then he flicks Deathstroke off the yacht. And, you know, whoever you are, I hope you're happy too. Doesn't even remember her name. And then at the very end here, we get to see Bruce Wayne training in this facility, Ra's al Ghul. And they give him this monitor here of Clark Kent having a good time, saying he's Bruce Wayne. Who are you? And that's when the next issue comes in. I've teased this before. I absolutely love this series. American Alien is great. This issue in particular is great. It delves into Oliver Queen's party sort of persona and who he was before he gets stranded on the island and becomes the Green Arrow. It shows Clark Kent becoming the man that he is by letting his inhibitions go for a short while before he has to go back to being a little bit more stuffy and proper. Max Landis definitely hit this series out of the park, but this issue in particular is one of my favorites. Absolutely check out this issue, and maybe I might pitch some more in the future.
Nice, thank you, Jack. What do you have for us this week?
An inability to screen share, apparently.
Oh no!
So I've already sent the image to Polly and Quiz. If one of you could pull it up on Twitter,
Yeah,
maybe that would be a little less boring than me talking.
If my Twitter will load.
Well, I'm pitching a crossover of epic proportions. The kind of thing you just don't see much of anymore, where they're both by the same guy. Same actor was involved in the movie franchises. I am pitching Army of Darkness, Bubbahotep issue 1.
I love it.
Ash Williams finds out Elvis might be alive and goes in search of him. And everybody thinks Elvis is dead, obviously, but when they meet, it just so happens that a Deadite takes possession of the mummy body from Bubbahotep. So things get crazy real fast. There's kung fu fighting because, Elvis was into the karate. It is absolutely hilarious. It was a lot of fun to read. Great crossover with the franchises. The art is not my favorite. It's very kind of that weird manga style that generally doesn't appeal to me, but I thought it was a lot of fun. So I would definitely recommend this. I thought it was a great crossover of Bruce Campbell movies merging into one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
I love that cover, man. Holy
I know, right?
Favorite line from Bubbahotep. Hell, man, I don't know. I got a growth on my pecker.
Yeah, there's some great lines in here. The writer is Scott Duvall, who I'm not overly familiar with. I think he's done some other Dynamite work, but he really seems to have an appreciation for the films, so he gets it pretty good on here. And, well, like I said, the art isn't my favorite. It was definitely a fun book. So if you get a chance to check it out, do so.
Fucking sweet. I don't have a lot of money. Quit pitching stuff I want to go buy. Fine. All right.
Sorry.
You're not sorry at all.
No, I'm not.
I didn't think that you would be into Army of Darkness there, Polly.
Well, yeah, Bubbahotep pushed it over the edge. What am I saying? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I need more humor in comics that I read. Like I was telling you guys, that's why I've been reading Looney Tunes comics, for God's sakes, just for cheap laughs. I'm still making my way through the Moon Knight background, and it's you know, it gets pretty deep and sullen. A man needs his laughs, you know what I mean? And it's going through any you know, as a comics fan, you guys go through the websites, right, that are dedicated towards this art form, and it's all like 50% of it is politics. I mean, when we pull tabs, believe me, chat, we're not going out of our way to pull out offensive stuff that's politically contentious or anything like that. These garbage tier websites are absolutely replete with it, and these are supposed to be the centers of pop culture as it relates to comic books and superheroes. This is just what the industry is inundated with at the moment. It wasn't always like this. It wasn't like this only a few short years ago. Remember way back then, guys? It's become like this very quickly over time, like quickly in the grand scale of things. The articles that aren't political in nature are just the worst kind of shill-ery, where there are no reviews. First of all, you can clear your mind of that. The only honest reviews that you're ever going to get are from individual YouTubers or individual blog writers who are going to tell you what they actually think. If you read a review off of cbr.com or off of comicbook.com, it's always glowing, never anything but.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to piss off Image, Marvel, DC, whoever. You know, so everything they write is pure gold, no matter how badly it's failing in terms of shipping. And you know, it's Detective Comics 1000. So there's 100 different articles about it, not saying very much, just trying to glom on and ride that temporary fame train, you know?
Yeah.
Ryan Walter says, cast Jim Carrey as Moon Knight. Ryan? I'll ban a motherfucker. I'm just be aware. I seriously hope you were kidding.
He doesn't like Jim Carrey. I would say Jim Carrey from the 90s, maybe.
No. Okay, let's move on. That's a bad thought. Fucking nightmare fuel for tonight. Thanks, James or Ryan. Fuck, I can't. That's just such a frightening image of him as Mark Spector. Fuck. Anyway, final thoughts. Buy used comics. Enjoy the medium for what it is. Buy outside the big two. There's lots of great stuff going on, especially over Antarctic doing great stuff, and Dynamite still has great stuff with a lot of the licenses they have. IDW with some of the fantastic licenses, and of course Alterna. Try something new, whether it's new and something that's outside of the big two, or something old that's a collected edition of something you haven't read. You get it cheap. Great stories back before politics ruled everything.
Mm-hmm.
Final thoughts? Anyone else?
I agree.
Go see Shazam.
Yeah,
it's great.
Enough said. I'm there. Fuck it. I went and saw Captain Marvel, so you know damn well I'm going to go see Shazam in the theaters. And I have yet to fall off of this pattern. I kept forgetting every week, and here I am again. Please like and subscribe. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate it. It does indeed help. If you haven't subbed already and like what you've heard, please sub. Normally, we're not this yelly. We're really not.
Yeah, we are.
I was saying, dude, you mentioned we went over this when Samuel L. Jackson was talking about how you want to remove the ability for the plebeians to give their feedback. Oh my God, it's the way to get me to go off is to show me an ivory tower. I'll want to burn it down.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming by. If you haven't already, like and subscribe on your way out. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.